All right. Here we are, live. The Metal Lab. Better late than never, right, guys?
Oh, yeah. And most of us remembered our ROC hats because we had a great tournament this weekend. Hooray!
Hooray!
Jay, go put your ROC hat on right now.
I love. Mike just went to parrot voice on there somewhere. All right. So welcome to the Metal Lab, guys. It's been a heck of a weekend, and we're all really excited. So I am joined this week by Tom.
Hello, everybody.
Mike.
Hi.
And Jay.
I will retrieve the hat.
And while Jay is retrieving his hat, we'll remind everybody that we're brought to you in part by the guys who make these hats over at hcrealms.com, the guys who are partners with The ROC, along with TCG Player. hcrealms.com is your one-stop source of all sorts of Heroclix information that isn't directly from WizKids. It's where the conversation is happening. It's where you can track your collection in the unit section. It's where you can build your teams, also in that wonderful Unix section. Got a ROC around the corner? Check out the ROC tab. There's all kinds of important information pertaining to your ROC events up there, along with a comprehensive list of all the ROCs coming up throughout the year, including one on October 1st in Michigan at Eternal Games that I know myself and Amber are looking to attend ourselves. So
this guy too.
Really excited about that. So always keep your eyes on hcrealms.com for that.
I think that the whole crew is going to go down for that one. Just saying.
Woo-wee! Full card.
That might be a thing.
It's the last chance one. Adam was going on about it. Yeah. Should be good.
So we're looking and ranking the arrangements for that. Vegas is a little bit of a further trip. Michigan's about a 4 or 5 hour drive from where we are. So
yeah, it's not bad.
So those of you who are asking, why aren't you coming to the U.S. National Cup? This is why.
And hey, one of us is going to the U.S. National Cup. He's just gone to get his hat.
That's true. Yeah.
But on that segue of our advertiser, we also want to remind guys that while you're at the wonders of hcrealms.com, check out that shop button and pick out some of the cooler HeroClix-related paraphernalia. And while you're checking out, put in the coupon code MARRIED for 10% off of your purchase. Goes to help support the channel a little bit as well. And we are also brought to you in part by MajesticCCG.com, another partner site with The ROC. And they are really quick with results, including the results of the tournament we're going to be comprehensively talking about today. And that is the Canadian ROC, or the ROC Canada Cup. We're going to get into more detail on that later on the show after we cover our previews, or news, as it were. News in WizKids is, previews. So, but check that out. Again, that's MajesticCCG.com. And while you're there, check out the Apex Insider site. $3 a month gets you premium access, and that gets you articles written. So some great members of the community, some champions, some decently placed players who played in a number of tournaments. Keep your eyes open for the within the next week. You may see an article by one Tom Kerr with his tale of the Canada Cup. Spoiler alert. There's a reason he gets to write an article about it.
The spoiler is over my right shoulder.
Yeah.
Let's
get you. Look at that.
And my left shoulder, too.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, yeah, that's a
double trophy. ROC trophy and the one Amber made. Also, check out articles written by Jay. He writes articles about characters you would normally use, but you really should be using. And check out articles by myself to get you thinking in that metagame mindset if you're a little bit new to the metagame. But without further ado, let's get to the news portion of the show. Now, this is the week that Superior Foes of Spider-Man comes out. So, any previews pertaining to characters in the packs, we're going to duck this week. For some reason, in the past week, about 1,000 previews showed up. That's just the official ones on WizKids, not even including the entire set being up on hcrealms.com. But we are going to talk about the Fast Forces, which we won't be covering in our comprehensive review, because a good portion of our comprehensive review covers the sealed format, and these guys won't be seeing in the sealed format, and that being, of course, the Fast Forces. So we now lose my ugly mug, and while I am fixing it, Tom, how was your weekend?
Oh, I had a fantastic weekend. I had a stressful and a tense type of a weekend, but it was it was a great time. The entire ROC Canada Cup was wildly successful. It felt great to play with all kinds of great players, both locally and from afar. Jay had a chance to stay with me, and so we got to hang out and talk clicks and drink and have fun, and everything was great. So I don't think I imbibed any of your massive alcohol collection. That's true, but you drank water, and we went out to the bar and you drank, so there's.
Oh, I had a beer. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
All right, Mike, how was your weekend?
Oh, it was excellent. I had a lot of nerves going into this weekend, having had a hand in the organization of it. But stepping away so that I could play during the actual event. And then, of course, I was host to our good friend Adam Cole as well. He's a fantastic host guest. Made sure to leave some fancy straws so that I could pretend that I'm on vacation all the time.
He brought those everywhere, including the bar.
He did, and as you guys know, he's a very entertaining guy. He's a very good talker and just a sweet all around guy. So yeah, great house guest, and he's welcome back anytime. And we'll see him, I guess, in October then too at that Last Chance, that Last Chance Rock. Yeah, but overall, excellent weekend. Really enjoyed it. And I was happy with my placement. I was happy with the fact that we all did so well.
Oh, incredibly.
It's just. There was nothing wrong at all with the tournament, in my eyes. So yeah.
All right, and Jay, how was your weekend?
I spent all of it with Tom, so it was the best weekend ever.
I have to ask, did you ask Tom to talk to you to sleep? Because I would. If I had the chance to be like, I asked Tom twice in Ohio, and he wouldn't do it because I stole the blankets.
I would get him to read me to go the F to sleep.
Of course.
Actually, it's really bad though that I stayed at Tom's now because he lives really close to my girlfriend, which is basically how I ended up there anyways. And now, every time I sleep with my girlfriend, she'll be like, "Yeah, but I could be at Tom's."
That's true. You could be playing Arkham Knight and instead of sleeping through the night.
All right, and on that awkward note, we're going to talk about the fast forces from the superior foes of Spider-Man, starting with the man whose name is on the set itself, Spider-Man. Spider-Man, of course, has real name Peter Parker. He's got the Spider-Man family, reporter, and scientist keywords. He ignores elevated terrain for movement. He has a trait. Spider-Man can use the carry ability, but only to carry a character with a lower point value, and that is lower than 75 points. He's got a special movement power on click 1 and 3. Spider-Man can use hypersonic speed. When he does, before moving, you may place him in a square of higher elevation within 4 squares and line of fire. Everything else is as you see is what you see is what you get. 0 range, wild card team ability, and Tom, you have Spider-Man.
All right. Well, my first thought on Spider-Man is that, as always, I wonder why that super strength is not front-loaded. He has hypersonic speed, but he is limited to his 3 damage. A little bit of precision strike would have gone a long way with that. Some super strength would have gone a long way with that. Really, anything would have. I am always a fan and remain a fan of characters that kind of change their tactic after they take a push. Spider-Man doesn't have willpower, and so it's very feasible that you could move up on turn 1, maybe up onto some elevated, hop up in a perfect world, use that ability to jump onto elevated to extend your hypersonic swing out to as much as 12, which is quite good for 75 points for an 11 attack, 3 damage. I mean, we've seen better, but all the same, it's still not bad. And then when you push, on to sidestep to reposition and super strength, close combat expert to try to lay in some hurt later. That's something you could do. Otherwise, use the hypersonic to try to get back again. Again, with a 12 swing, it is feasible. Wildcard is always nice, and I like the fact that after they do lay into him a little bit, he's got flurry, willpower, and outwit at the end to make the most of his closing frames, so that you can outwit a defense power and then try to either look for 2 shots to get your 9 attack to connect, or in a perfect world, maybe get them both to connect and get some serious damage through, and you don't have to worry about pushing yourself to death to do it. So there is good in him. But I think that the overall impression I come away with is solid and meh. Anyone else have anything relevant to say?
Not really.
No.
It looks like a pretty much perfect comic accurate Spider-Man dial.
Yeah.
Except for the lack of super strength.
We don't really see him web swinging around the city holding a car.
I think you should.
Yeah, the only thing I would do differently is maybe I wish his defense power changed on the second click so that you could more fully justify the push. So that if your opponent doesn't need to deal with your combat reflexes, maybe push onto the super senses so that you're more justifying it. But otherwise, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, an 18 super senses would have been pretty nice.
Well, I'm sure there's enough of them in the set that'll have that. This is going to be that Fast Forces one that's a bargain figure to throw in a package that you're going to be guaranteed to get the figure from. All right. So next up, and I'm going to do my best here, we have J. Jonah Jameson here. He's got the celebrity and reporter keywords, and his real name is, surprise, surprise, J. Jonah Jameson. J. Jonah Jameson comes with a special power. The world needs to know your reckless actions. At the beginning of your turn, you may choose an opposing character within 4 squares and line of fire. Until your next turn, that character can't be given power actions.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Isn't that so exactly the same as the Clark Kent, I think?
The reporter one, I think so.
Yeah, but with the benefit of sidestep to reposition to make that work better.
All right. So what are your overall thoughts on this one, Jay?
He is pretty disappointing, especially for a Fast Forces figure. I mean, he's pretty much just an easy target with meh keywords. And no thanks.
All right. Anybody else want to mention about J. Jonah Jameson, or?
He just looks like a Fast Forces piece. I mean, they're trying to gear that stuff more towards new players, so I don't see how it's that. It's not exceptional. It's not an Atomica.
It would have been nice if they switched the dials of the 2 versions. Then this Fast Forces would be a more appealing buy.
It's possible that if your opponent doesn't take the bait, you could choose to ignore your willpower, push him onto click 2, and then get an out with the don't see coming. But that's the most I can hope for. Otherwise,
although I often find there's a lot of things that do require power actions, and that 4 squares you call 4 squares. You got charge. Well, you're not charging.
Right, but you still have to get within the 4 squares.
He walks with 6 movement. You're carrying him with something, and he's only 25 points, right? Anyway. Moving right along. Next up, we have Dr. Octopus. Doc Ock has Sinister Syndicate and Scientist keywords. His real name is Otto Octavius. I don't mention the real name nowadays, guys, because ID cards, and until something tells me that ID cards are going away permanently, you'll never know. He's got a special movement power. Dr. Octopus can use sidestep and ignore elevated, hindering, and can move adjacent to characters, so has to break away. So he can move past a character, not over a character or anything like that. And he has that on his first 3 clicks. He's 75 points with the Sinister Syndicate team ability and 4 range with 2 targets. And this one will go to Mike. Mike, what do you think of Dr. Octopus?
Yeah, he's a Fast Forces piece. He's all right. I mean, as soon as I hear Doc Ock, I think of that crazy Doc Ock bomb Doc Ock that we have going on right now. So nothing is going to compare to that. Yeah. It's a fun piece. It's really simple. It's a great introductory piece, is what I'm looking at here. Having a little bit of top-loaded willpower in case he gets hit for 1, and then goes to a higher defense from range. That's a little mismatched, but getting down to it, if he gets hit for a reasonable value, he ends up with flurry, which is half decent. So, that being said, it's 75 points. It's okay.
All right. Anybody want to add to that, or are we all good?
That's a fair amount of 3s for the points.
Yeah.
He's got some pretty solid values.
Yeah. It feels like a throwback to the collaborating time Doc Ock to me.
Yeah, the only downside is that his defense value and his defense power is not amongst the list of positives. So he is easy points.
Yeah. All right, next up, the Green Goblin. So the Green Goblin, Sinister Syndicate Scientist keywords, Norman Osborn's real name. Nothing special going on in powers. 6 range, 2 targets, some numbers, 75 points, Sinister Syndicate team ability. Tom?
Well, I must say that I'm a little bit nonplussed by both the Green Goblins. This one is way better than the main set one, but that's not saying very much. I wish he was a lot of things. Enhancement's kind of strange to me. His Sinister Syndicate, at least I guess on the second click he goes up to an 11 attack, so that his Sinister Syndicate giveaway is a little bit better. I keep looking at that with regards to characters that don't have willpower, and he is a good example of one who changes his defense power when he pushes, as noted, so that if your opponent gets in close, then he goes from a range focus with the running shot energy explosion into a close combat focus with the sidestep close combat expert and combat reflexes. So I like that about him. You get to choose what flavor of Green Goblin best suits the moment if you want to take a strategic push. Other than that, though, I'm not terribly impressed. I mean, he's fairly bland. Energy Explosion is always good. 6 range is kind of meh. And towards the end, I would love to land on regeneration, but I always worry about 1 click of regeneration, especially when it doesn't have willpower, it doesn't have reroll, its defense is low, and you're probably not going to land on it anyway.
Anybody got anything to add on this one?
No, that's a fair assessment.
He's a perfectly fine introductory piece.
Mm-hmm.
No flight, though,
he is
is a
sufficient.
bit. There's been a lot of talk on the realms about the complete lack of flight on him and the other one.
Yeah, that is a weird thing about it, because you assume Goblin Glider when you see Green Goblin, and
my running joke at this point has been that the standing sculpts become so prevalent that everybody forgot that they're supposed to fly.
Yeah. That's very true. Now let's get on to talk about the reason you buy the Fast Forces, shall we?
Yep. The Kingpin. The Kingpin of crime. He's got the Sinister Syndicate and politician keywords.
Yeah.
My city, my rules trait. Kingpin and friendly characters within 8 squares are considered adjacent to each other for purposes of the Sinister Syndicate team ability. Team ability. Sorry, I just... Wow. And he's got a special damage power. Kingpin can use leadership and outwit. When he uses leadership, he can remove an action token from a character with the Sinister Syndicate keyword, regardless of point values. He's 50 points. He has got the Sinister Syndicate team ability. I'm going to let Mike take the lead on this one. Mike, what do you think of Wilson Fisk?
Holy crap. That is 50 points really well spent. Holy crap. The stealth's a little weird. Considering
He's always get that.
Yeah, it's very useful, but it's kind of weird. Considering
here's my explanation, just to make you feel better.
Yeah.
Think of
please.
season 1 of Daredevil.
Yeah.
And the first 4 episodes.
Oh,
and
sure.
Tell me that's not stealth.
No, that's true. Yeah. The weirdo that is not the Kingpin, but then he is. Yeah. The excellent abilities across the board. The stats are totally reasonable for 50 points. In fact, they're very good. Well, the 11 attack is very good in particular. And, with him going down to a 9 towards the end, it doesn't really matter because of that team ability. Holy crap. What the hell? I didn't actually look at this before right now, and this is like... I'm pooping a little bit in my pants. All right,
Mike, yeah, your reaction was like mine on the commuter train yesterday. I did that on a train, and people looked at me, sorry?
Were you like,
folks,
what?
Sorry.
Come on!
50 points? That's it. I had to read that trait twice to be sure I was reading it.
$5,000.
Yeah, and actually, just for the benefit of those listening or watching at home, be very clear that the wording is Kingpin and friendly characters within 8 squares are considered adjacent. So that, to my reading of it, means that the friendly characters are considered adjacent to each other in addition to being adjacent to the Kingpin. So it doesn't really matter what the Kingpin's attack value is. I mean, it's great that he's sharing an 11 off the top, but if there's a 12 out there, they can share it amongst themselves too. Once he's down to the end of his dial, if he's even on his very last click, he's down to a 9, but any friendlies within 8 squares can still share with each other. It doesn't have to be Kingpin's attack value they're sharing. They just all get to consider themselves adjacent when they're within 8. That's pretty awesome.
And I also, without extending too much to the length of the episode, go back and look at, what's his name, Speed Demon and Boomerang again.
I was going to say, Boomerang for sure.
Because boom!
Yeah.
Speed Demon has now got a good friend. All right. But we move next.
I didn't get it. Let's see. A couple words.
Did you have something to actually add?
I don't think that there's a Sinister Syndicate keyword character with a 12 now, and it is nice to see that they made a differently good Kingpin to the previous phenomenal super rare, and I like him quite a lot.
There's some 12-point wild cards out there.
Yeah, I was actually just going to bring up an example of one. If I can find one real quick. But, go on.
Yeah, I hate to be the encyclopedia of bad news.
No. What we're saying is that wild cards can use it too. It doesn't say they have to possess the Sinister Syndicate.
Right, I'm sure I'm talking theme, but yes.
Well, I look at it as, if he gets knocked down to that 9 attack value, he's still at 12, or he's still at 11, at minimum. So, still very useful.
He's excellent.
Yeah.
All right. Last but not least.
No, both.
As far as characters are concerned. Okay. Venom. He's got the Sinister Syndicate and monster keywords. His real name is Eddie Brock. Look to Yeah, that's useless. Never mind. But his name is Venom, so he works with the ID card. He's got the symbiote trait, which for those of you who haven't seen that trait yet, it means they can use plasticity, shape change, and they automatically break away.
Yeah.
And now he's also got the symbiote's web trait. When Venom hits, after action is resolved, you may attach his web marker to a hit target, removing it from anywhere else. That character with the web marker can't move without breaking away and can't automatically break away. Other characters don't have to break away from that character. When that character successfully breaks away, remove the web marker. Everything else is on dial. He has 75 points, 5 range with the Sinister Syndicate team ability. Jay, what do you think of Venom?
He's interesting. He's interesting to look at with the pretty good tie-up trait, or 2 tie-up traits kind of between his plasticity while auto-breaking away, and then the web, which I think is exactly worded the same as the Spider-Man one, but just named something different.
Yeah.
His defenses are decent with senses and shape change. He's a good team player with the Empower, decent attacker, good dial length with all the flurry, steal energy, and whatnot. Can do solid damage for his points. He's a nice little. I mean, he's not. Maybe he could be used with the ID card, but not constructively competitive, I don't think. But he's another one of those figures that's good for Fast Forces to get someone learning and excited about the game, especially because it's a Venom. So,
yeah,
quality piece, but not really constructive competitive.
All right. Anything for you, Mike and Tom, to add, or?
No, that's fine. Good description.
It's okay. He's outclassed by other characters named Venom.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we move to the realm of HC Realms. So any mistakes that may be made or any clarification come out after the fact, keep an eye out for them. But there are 2 items coming with this set. One of which, the much anticipated, but not to what people thought it would be, the symbiote.
That's actually in the OP kit, though.
Yeah, this is the OP kit one. And we're moving. The web shooter is apparently going to be coming in the Fast Forces as well. So we'll start with the web shooter, and it's an equip object, and it is, what is it listed as? Is it an ultralight? It's a light object. Sorry.
Right.
Now the effect is equipped character can use leap and climb, and may be given a ranged combat action to make a ranged attack with a range of 4 that deals no damage. When equipped character hits with this attack, after action resolve, you may attach a web marker to the hit target, removing it from anywhere else. That character with the web marker can't move without breaking away and can't automatically break away. Other characters don't have to break. So basically, it attaches a web marker. As otherwise, it is 4 points. Add leap and climb on top of the web marker. Tom, what do you think of this?
I think it's good, actually. Honestly, 4 points for leap climb is already is not bad. It's a substantial improvement to your breakaway. And I mean, I know that we kind of lean. We poo-poo
leap climb all the time.
We do.
4 points for leap is fine.
Yeah, that's just it. Leap climb, it's not great, and yeah, it's outclassed, and it could be revised, and we'd all be happy with it. But frankly, 4 points for a character that really wants to not be held down is worth it in and of itself. Add to that the fact that you can do the web marker thing, so that you really don't need to be held down. If you just kind of lock somebody else down, then walk right away from them. That's cool, man. I think it's really neat. I just think it is too bad that your range value is locked at 4 when you use it. But I suppose that if it was too much more, it could be, it could perhaps be made more potent. I don't know. Honestly, I don't think that was necessary, but I guess that is the nature of you're using a web shooter, not that you're adding a web shooter to your own existing range. So it's themey. And anyway, like I say, to me the big takeaway is the leap climb. I think it's cool that you can add a web marker to somebody, but enabling somebody to break away that otherwise might have a hard time with it is worth it.
Yep. Anybody want to add to that?
It's going to be fun to put on a Batman because he has some more weapons in video games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's
true.
fun.
Or he throws back guano at you and it's all gross.
All right. So next we cover the symbiote, which is the OP kit prize for this set, and it gives basically the symbiote effect. Equipped character can use plasticity and shape change and automatically breaks away. But we have this added little effect. You can give the equipped character free action and roll a d6 that can't be re-rolled. On a 5 to 6, modify this character's combat values by +1 until your next turn. But on the roll of 1, you place this object in an adjacent square that the last equipped character can't be equipped by it again this game. And it is an immobile object, so it'll be a blue object, and it comes in at 6 points. Now, These are both still, until any further notice, still good in the limited format.
Yeah.
Which, stands out a bit. I haven't started any of these, so I'm going to start on this one. I take the last. But I like the idea of plasticity in general as a power. I love the idea.
You sure do.
I love the idea of shape change when it's not on my team, or when it is on my team, rather. And I like automatically breaking away. All of these things are good. And then, sometimes you might need that extra +1, and it might be worth the roll. In the situation where you look at that and you say, this +1 will do me good, great, go for it. And just also hope that you're in a situation where you don't absolutely have to have the +1 because things could go awry for you. But overall, I like this as a 6-point point filler in the limited format for sure, and I'm really looking forward to all the possible options that this symbiote could go on. Yeah.
Yeah. I have something to add to that, actually. And that's 6 points for shape change? Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We already...
6 points. 6 points
just
plasticity? Sure.
Yeah. I was going to say...
Oh, wait a minute. I get both? That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. And then you get to break away on anything except a one. Wait a second.
Wait a minute.
You automatically break away?
Yeah, and you fail on a 1, it's not rerollable. So what? It's fine. It is inconsistent in terms of trying to roll for that 5/6, but overall, I think that is a shape change roll. So I hit a lot of those. I know Tom hits a lot of those, and I think it's a really good addition to the game.
All right.
I had one tiny thing to add.
What do you got?
I like that it can, even though the wand effect is not ideal, you can still position smartly so that if it does happen, you can still be like, oh, what up? I actually wanted the other character to pick it up, because you can just position somebody next to them because you choose the square. And then you're like, what up? I actually wanted the other character to pick it up.
That sounds like everything I say when I screw up but have a backup plan. It's like, no, this was my plan.
It's the Batman thing where it's like, I was planning this the entire time.
Absolutely. And if you guys are looking for any more official previews, check out Heroclix.com. They just recently put up Cloak and Dagger. There's a bunch of other figures up there. It's just, with all the talking we have to do today, we just couldn't squeeze it all in there, and plus we're going to be talking about this set in great detail next week. As a spoiler alert, if you're watching now, next week we are going to be doing this full set in review. So, on that, let's. I guess we can take it right to the Canada Cup, eh, guys? It was a pretty good tournament, eh?
Sure was, eh?
Eh?
I heard you hosers did really well, eh?
I heard you did all right too, eh?
I did okay.
Oh yeah.
In fact,
I drank my syrup that morning.
In fact, all of us are wearing part of the spoils of our trip. So,
USA. No.
Oh, that was Adam.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Hold on a second, Jay. I think there's a problem with your mic. Let me just. Where's the kick from conversation button? I mean. All right, but at 401 Games this past weekend, over the Saturday and the Sunday, we had the ROC Canada Cup. Now, ROC is just this year introduced the national event. There are super qualifier levels, but of course it's up to the venues and the events to make it better than that, because it's a national level event, and you got to make a lot of noise about it, and you got to make it cool. Mike put a lot of work into organizing this, along with the guys over at 401 Games. We had a great judge team. Amber was part of that, along with Paul. His name is it Paul Rocky?
Yeah, Paul Rocky.
That's right.
Paul Rocky, Aiden Fillion, and Steve Ogden. A lot of great people in charge of keeping everybody in line, and they did a fantastic job.
I've never seen anyone do better. It was just wonderful.
It was a fantastic job.
You guys enjoyed it, and thank you for the help too, Jay, or Jason rather.
I do what I can.
Yeah. Everybody pitched in. It turned into a wonderful and amazing event, and we'll hear more about that now, I guess. I'll be right back. I got to feed a cat.
All right. Cats are so demanding, but that's all right. Now, in placement, we're actually going to be kind of going in in placement order of how we each did, starting from the bottom going up. And now, when we say starting at the bottom of us is still somewhere in the top 8 for all of us. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, I guess a moment perhaps to talk about what the format of the thing was. I mean, obviously, we know it was 300 Modern. It was a 2-day event with 5 rounds of Swiss on the first day, followed by a brown bag sealed tournament, which was a huge fun and a great way to kind of kick off the stress of the Swiss. So we could all just
and
breathe.
I'm going to interrupt for a second. Anybody who was involved in that tournament, I stand by. No givesy backsies.
Yeah, it was great. I love sealed, and the brown bag idea really worked well. And like I said, we got the chance to kick off some steam, and the fact that it wasn't just Swiss followed by finals, and then everyone leaves exhausted and tired, meant that we got to do the Swiss, and then we got to do some casual fun clicks, and then we all got to go and have some food and drinks, have a nice sleep in, and then we did the top 16 down to the number 1 on day 2, along with many other side events. And they include the Mall Madness and Battle Royals and stuff. So there was a lot of stuff going on. It was a 2-day extravaganza.
Yeah, if you enjoyed playing Heroclix and didn't do so well in competitive, you still had a whole weekend of Heroclix to go. So part of the organization is made that possible, and I really got to put kudos to the store, to everybody who helped out. I know we had a special side event host with the mall map with Will Gibson, so special thanks to him too for that. But let's get to the meat and the potatoes. Let's get to our story time, and we're going to start with Jay. Jay placed 6th place in the event. So Jay,
awesome.
Make it sound a little worse. Just try.
No, but you got 6.
Okay, hold on. He came in 16.
Allow me. 31 people showed up at this event, and Jay placed 6th. Not the best of us, but still really good.
Yeah, excellent.
And we're going to let him share his story of the event and how it went for him.
One thing, Jay, you got a map and you got a hat.
I'll say.
I got a hat.
Anyone who's slagging on 6th place is being a bit elitist here.
But I got the button too, but I didn't get the button I wanted because I wanted the sploosh button.
Oh, the sploosh button.
One of those. Hopefully we'll be able to do that. Okay, I guess I should bring up my team for the lovely people, and I guess I'll screen share it. Is that what I'm gonna do?
Good idea. I
Sure,
should
go
do
for it, Jay.
My turn. You think I put that?
I know the team off by heart, but I will just. There we go. Screen share for story time.
Riveting viewing, I'm sure, as we look for the screen share button.
Jay is the model of preparedness every time.
Yeah.
Better than you. Story time is 9. Oh gosh, I can't find it, can I?
You know what? Pull up the Majestic site. It's up. It's got that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Majestics is better.
It is.
It is. It was up this morning, man. Patrick,
Sponsored by.
Sponsored by. No, I mean, like, beyond the fact that they're wonderful sponsors of us, they, like, Mike, you got that information to them. I don't think they slept last night because
No, they were on it.
this morning I woke up and
Yeah.
Patrick just shared the article with me, and they're 3 hours behind us. So when I get a notification at 9 in the morning, that's his 6 in the morning.
I think you clicked on the wrong thing. Okay.
Right, like,
You mean a plug?
Jay.
Then we have a terrible picture of me.
You know what, Jay? Just for that, you get bonus rock dice. Here you go, bud. Right here. There's 2. I got 2 for you.
They're your favorite dice ever.
We have a terrible picture of
Not the
me.
ones I used in.
All right. Let's
We have my map, and I keep on winning scholarships at these events. I don't know why.
There's a point.
So, we started off the whole weekend badly because I forgot to bring maps.
Hey, you and me
And
both.
I was lucky enough to have Tom be able to lend me those 2 maps because Danny the Street is the best. So my team is unlike most Quinjet teams where there is not an Ultron to be seen, and there is also Avengers theme. So you have your good old Quinjet at full points, the original Avengers Fast Forces Captain America at 50, who is the awesome one that gives free moves, although I have one playing this team literally never used that. He is just a pilot. Jarvis is there for his Jarvis reasons. The team changed slightly recently. Instead of using the 25-point Jewel, I switched to the recent amazing movie Red Wing. because he has a longer dial, so he can't be killed by the Atom in one shot. 3 clicks with toughness is good. Can't be one shot by pretty much most things, hopefully. Solid defense, especially with 18 defend plus tiny. And it actually also has Avengers Initiative as a team ability, so if it gets outwit from the Quinjet, it is stealth busting, which is quite helpful indeed. The Parody and Pog is there just to fill in the 10 points and be another ID card. Then we have the Atom for the Colossal, Batman for Trinity War, level 7 for Nick, level 7 for Peggy, Nightwing for the LE, Black Canary for the only legal one, Bucky Barnes for the Sniper, 10 range, awesome one from Nick Fury, Red Tornado for good old Red Tornado, the amazing one, and then Superman for Superman Blue, which is all right there, and I'm silly. So my round 1 was against a gentleman named Gary Jones, as everybody can see. He was playing the Fast Forces Hulk from Age of Ultron movie at 150, and when he came to the event, he intended to put his Eclipso that he brought on the Hulk, not realizing the equip rule, so he then put it on one of his 2 movie Scarlet Witches, the ones that give Hulk super special, awesome monster stats.
Yeah.
And that's the Hulk that can turn into a 13 attack monster with full movement charge and all sorts of shenanigans. So quite an intimidating team. Unfortunately, not the best matchup for him because I managed to... Well, first I pulled a Nick Fury and hit the Hulk for 1, but then he has a stop click, followed by a couple other ones. And so that, I made that first attack. Ended up outwitting the Hulk's charge a lot because that's the other Hulk gets the tokens from outwit. This Hulk gets anger, rage, smash tokens from being targeted with an attack. And his special version of stock flick is outwittable, so I managed to outwit it and take him out, and then just proceeded from there. And then against Mike, it did not go about as well as it did the first time.
That was a good game.
That was literally the closest game I have ever had, with the point difference
My entire life. Yeah.
very small, as will be demonstrated.
How small,
How
Jay?
small was it?
I'll get to it. Spoilers. So we had... It ended up being sort of similar to the first time, where I ended up taking out one Loki. He took out points, obviously, because it's an ID card team. There's always points to be taken. Then... Shut up, Jason! At the end of at around 5 minutes left to the round, we both realized that he was winning by 1 point. And then I died a little inside. And I'm going to find Jason and do terrible things to him. So,
well, I thought you were ahead too, though. That's the funny part. I thought you were ahead, then I really did. And then there's 2 minutes to go, and I went, wait a minute. And I looked at all of the points, because I knew I was close. I knew it was really close.
Yeah.
And it was 144 for you versus 145 for me.
Yeah.
Great.
And the way it had been going was I had killed his Loki, and then, like the previous match, went on the defensive.
Yeah, that's what you do.
It's all you can do against that Loki team. You have to kill one, run away, pray to a pantheon of gods that isn't the Asgardian ones, and then just keep on going. And then during the whole running away proceedings, you managed to kill the Red Wing to turn it around there, which was actually a fairly high tack roll because it was probably 11 on like a 20 or something high. And it did make up for your dice because your dice were a little subpar that game. So,
oh yeah, my dice were really bad that game.
Yeah, with your 3 ones on regenerator roll. So that was literally the closest game of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And it was quite intense, and it was a good match. And although still getting 144 points was still decent. And then the round after that was the round where Jay was on tilt from the very beginning because I was so shaken from the mic match. So he was playing a Mary Marvel, a hat, which I had recommended to him, as I recall, Clarion, and a round table with various characters that were good. Maybe a teleporter, or there was ID cards. So I made some dumb mistakes, like positioning bring out my Winter Soldier in an area where he could do literally nothing. So that was fun, and just a lot of mess ups in general. Ended up scoring a fair amount of points though, so that was fine-ish. So I was in round 4 out of 5 with 1 and 2 with probably around 600 points, which was not the worst for a 5-round thing. And then I ended up facing a guy named David, who I'd never met before, who was playing again. The first thing I see after losing to a Mary Marvel was another Mary Marvel, and that was the best thing ever. That was a Super Buddies themed game with her with the Supreme Intelligence, and then the World's Finest Blue Beetle Booster Gold. Which was an okay team, just not really exactly competitive, and I won that match. And then round 5 was against Jimmy with his Doc Ock team. And that was an interesting match because, like with Mike, it's one of those matches that I go up against that I know that I have to let the other person attack first. And it's just a matter of optimizing my situation such that I'm in the most opportune place after that attack. So, and he didn't seem to know what the Quinjet did, more or less, which I guess was pretty advantageous to me. So the way it ended up being was that he actually, even though I had that good theme and won every one of my map rolls, that was the one that I lost. So he put us in an indoor map, which wasn't the most conducive to my team. So he Doc-Ocked. He missed a couple. He missed the first 2 attacks, crit hit on the second 2, funnily enough. But then in one turn, I managed to call in a Nick Fury and an Adam to one-shot his Doc-Ock. So that just about did it in his team, and then it was just a matter of cleaning up what remained. So, but that was initially very scary because he did manage to get in some good damage after that first little attack, or first barrage of attacks from the scary Doc-Ock. And then at the end of that, I was top 8 of the cut, which was a relief, because I was afraid that I wasn't going to get in at all. Ooh. So then we go to the day after, which was first round match of the top 16. I was against Glenn, who is a friend of ours who's normally not competitive at all, really, but managed to put together some characters that he actually liked into a meta team of Engineer at full points with Eclipso. Mixias Pitlick, and Atomica at 25 points, and the Atom ID card. Unfortunately, he forgot... What?
I was just going to say, before anyone misunderstands us, it's not that Glenn doesn't, as in is a non-competitive guy or unable to play competitively. He just doesn't tend to. He's a great player.
He chooses to be a casual
He's
player.
a very, very good player. In fact, he's an orange on HC Realms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But it's nice that he managed to put together a team that made it as far as it did with characters that he liked. So, unfortunately, he had forgotten his Atom Colossal, so it was ruled that he couldn't use it, which didn't really end up impacting the game much. The way the game ended up, it was just that his team didn't really have a good matchup against a Quinjet, just because he couldn't kill a Quinjet, and you basically need to kill a Quinjet for the Quinjet to stop doing the thing that it does. So he made his first attack with Hypersonic. I called a Nick Fury. Nick Fury missed an easy number, even with a bunch of probs, which happens, but then it ended up being that I basically ended up winning. And then, right after that, it was the against Jason, it was the Quinjet mirror match, which was going in my favor for most of it, but then he managed to turn it around.
I had a couple come from behind victories this week.
Yeah. I felt that we both made some mistakes in the game, but I think
I made way more.
I was gonna try and spin it in a good way, but
I done effed up.
you made some mistakes.
I pulse waved near Superman Blue.
Yeah. You made some mistakes.
I made enough.
I think our play was about on par with each other, more or less, and your version of the team is tried and true, and there's no shame in losing to it. And at the end of everything, I think I already knew that I was going to be replacing the Parademon on the team with the new Thug, because that's just better. And I realized that there's some ID cards that need shifting around, so it was a good learning experience, and I'm looking forward to the US Cup. and I'm gonna conquer that title, and we're gonna take it back.
We got to take one of theirs.
And
Yeah,
we're
we take one of theirs. Yeah,
and we're
yeah,
gonna paint it white, right, when we return it, because this is
Yeah.
the cheapest paint we can find.
I like the
We're
idea.
gonna return them to Britain. It's gonna be fun.
I like the idea of the Metal Lab becoming like the pan North American rock champions. If they give a Mexican rock championship, then we'll have to go and win that too, right? Yeah.
So we all did pretty well. So you're all coming with me to Vegas, right?
That
Right.
definitely is the plan.
Right? Yeah.
All right. So next up on the story block, and this is, let me just get the placement correct here. It is in 5th place, Mr. Mike Payne.
Well done.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Oh, man. So, I really had an amazing time this weekend. I've already said it a bunch of times. I was really happy to see things come together the way they were. I was worried about attendance. We met that threshold, so I was really the pressure was off after that for me, and I got to step away from the organizational role and get into the player mode, and not have to deal with any of that stuff because we had great judges and the staff of 401 Games were excellent, etc. Now, rather than bore you with more of that, I will get into my matchups here. Let me see. I have all the
sheets, so you know.
I have all the sheets. Yeah, I have all the sheets right here. Okay, so my first matchup, round 1. We have 31 players, so I got the bye.
Mike Payne.
That's just in. The fix is in, folks. The fix is in. The pots are boiling.
150 point bye, yeah. So I started off well because my team really isn't about taking whole teams, it's not about taking big points. It's about taking some points and then outlasting everybody else. It's just really, it's a point denial team, pure and simple.
One of your highest points.
Very much my style. And that was one of my highest point victories. It gave me time to drink more energy drinks and really wake up because I hadn't slept well the night before, and walk around and try to semi-distract people because that's part of my style. No, I'm just kidding.
And just to interrupt, me and Tom called it.
Yeah, you actually did. I remember that very clearly. Oh, it's going to go to my account for sure.
I meant that being your highest point win.
Oh, right.
It wasn't his highest.
No, it was close. Actually, in my later rounds, I did have some full clears. So I had one full clear, actually. But anyway, I'll get into my second round. It was against none other than Jay Solomon. He's already told you the story. Honestly, I was on tilt because we've played each other quite a few times with the same teams, and we're on a team. We know each other's teams really, really well. Should I do this? Should I change this out? Would it make mine better against yours? And we're pretty honest. Yes, it would in many cases. And so compared to the last time, the only thing he'd really changed was the Red Wing, I think.
And the Red Tornado ID card instead of
and the Red Tornado ID card because the Red Tornado ID card is actually excellent against Loki.
If anything, my team was better this time around.
It totally was better, and
that's the right direction.
You got me into a position where I had taken some points, and I hadn't really backed off that much. And I had, what was it? I think I had about 115 points at that point. 125. 125.
Wouldn't it be 126?
No, 125 because it's 20 points for Red Wing.
Right.
I had 125 points. You killed one of my Lokis. And then I spent the rest of the game just going on tilt, thinking, "Oh my God, I don't even know how many points I have. I have to go after you. I know I have points, but I need more." And so I went after Red Wing because he just seemed like the juiciest target. I still needed a fairly high number because you had the defend from the Quinjet, giving him an 18. Plus he had +1 as well, so he's sitting at a 19. So it's an 8 or higher. I got 2 tries at it, every turn or every other turn because I do have to clear. Although I didn't really have to clear with him, it's still the wisest move to do because if you've
never pushed against me.
You have 2 tokens on a Loki, he can be targeted. Now, in this case, I didn't actually go over my team. If anybody doesn't know, I've gone over it before on the show. It's 2 Lokis, 2 con-exclusive Lokis. One has Brainiac, the other one has Eclipso, one has the Lust Relic with Pandora's Box, and the other one has the Wrath Relic. Lust gives me plasticity and close combat expert, or sorry, combat reflexes, and the other one gives me combat reflexes. Ignores shape change when I'm adjacent. Or no, sorry, adjacent characters can't use shape change. Important distinction, and willpower. So I can technically push that guy. That's the guy that was left. Without actually taking any immediate damage. So I managed to kill the Red Wing, but I was on tilt because I didn't calculate my points properly. So I was going after him. They said like less than 5 minutes, and it was Jay's turn, and his turns take longer than mine because my team is bloody simple. I can just go, okay, I do these, I choose this, I go this, I do that. He has such a huge inventory to go through to be able to make the proper decisions. That's what the Quinjet's like, right? You have this incredible inventory of characters and ID cards and everything else, inspirations mixed with what the actual characters do, and yada yada yada. It takes significantly longer than my team. So while he's figuring out what he's going to do on potentially his last turn, I did the calculation, and my face went from beet red to a delightful light pink. More than it is normally.
I want to punch you in the face.
A little rashy, but
standard ginger fare.
Standard ginger fare.
You're making me want to punch you in the face now more than I did then.
And I legitimately didn't know.
Let her allow.
I realized at that point, and then I just backed off for my last.
Well, that was the thing, because I was on the defensive-ish because I was in the lead, running away. Well,
yeah.
Strategically running away, as in the manliest way possible.
Which is what you should do against that team.
Yeah.
You were playing properly. I was playing sort of properly, and it ended up that I won. I had one more point than him. We've already been over this, 144 to 145. I immediately said to Jay, "Don't let this put you on tilt."
And what did Jay describe his next round?
Don't let you put this on tilt, because that's
and he walked away like leaning over.
Yeah, he kind of like stumbled.
I honestly thought I thought he broke in gravity because he was on an angle that I didn't think people could walk on.
Well, the thing is with that team, the inventory is nuts. So
if he was a
the thing I don't like about the Quinjet is that in terms of longevity through a long tournament, like we staggered the tournament really well, right? We did 5 rounds Swiss first day, with 4 rounds single elimination second day, and some side events. We staggered it well so that you could go through 5 rounds. Yeah, you're frickin' tired in your last game. You probably make a few mistakes you normally wouldn't, but at least you're able to maintain. Instead of going, 5 rounds Swiss, 4 rounds single elimination same day. That would be insane, absolutely insane. So anyway, the thing I like about my team versus the Quinjet team is that it's not as exhausting. I get more time to think about your team than I do about my own because I've practiced it so well as well. But anyway,
at this point I do have my team memorized, so I know what all the options.
Not everybody has an eidetic memory either.
I play the team so many times that I know what it is.
I get that, and it's a really good team for you, and it's actually a really good team for Idle Hands Jason too. Moving on.
One last thing about it. I think our match is pretty much a 50-50.
Who's got idle hands? What?
I think, given our one-to-one match.
By the way, for the Americans watching, that's 7.5 kilos on each side. So moving on from here, my third round was against Jimmy, the Doc Ock Bomb Jimmy. That team doesn't do very well against my team. I just have too many rollouts, and it just as soon as I take out his support, it's game over. So I won map roll. I chose the Manhattan Bridge he won map roll. He chose the Manhattan Bridge, which is one of my maps anyway. Totally comfortable with it. I positioned in such a way that I was in water. He was playing it kind of cool, and he made a mistake in terms of positioning for his Ultron, and so I came and I rolled running shot with Pandora's Box and came out and shot him once is all I needed, but I had 2 characters there to be able to prob it with, just in case, because really it's not a huge roll. It was a 7 because I was going through hindering, but like that's an average roll, so no big deal. Nuked that Ultron, and he was put on tilt immediately. and it slowly went down from there until we got to the point where it was just Clarion left. I was going to town. I was going to take his whole team. Clarion was left, and Clarion was possessed by, I think, Eclipso. No. Is it Eclipso or Brainiac that gets Pulse Wave further down? It's Brainiac, right?
It's Brainiac.
Yeah, so he had Brainiac on his Clarion. I hit him to a click where he actually did have Pulse Wave, and he's mystical, so he can target me. So
draw line of fire.
He can line of fire me. He can draw line of fire. He can set up the area of effect. So it was really just about me getting in position so that he would have to hit both of them, so that it would only be 1 damage at a time, because I knew that I was going to be able to get him down from there, because I'd already killed Teagle. So time was called. If he managed to land one more attack on one of my Lokis, he would have taken one of them out, but I still would have won. It just would have been him with some points. So I point denied him. Moving on from there, let's see here. Next, I faced none other than the brilliant and wonderful Idle Hands, Jason Collins. That is now your nickname, by the way.
So you're just gonna call me the Devil's? Is that what you're saying? I love how I'm just gonna keep something in my hand every time you guys call me out on this.
Yeah. And Jason and I have played against each other with these same teams before. This was the final at the Winnamap recently. The difference being that he changed a couple ID cards around. He ended up with the Red Tornado on there, and that really was the deciding factor. He managed to... I ate some of his team, and then I moved around with a very similar strategy as when I was facing him the first time, keeping the Lokis a little bit further apart. Oh yeah, first of all, I take out 2 atoms because he called in one of the atoms immediately. I thought maybe that might have been a play error at the time. I killed both of the atoms in the same turn. And then but it was just to move the dial along. I get it.
For my side of the story. We'll talk.
He eventually managed to bring out Red Tornado as a permanent character, and I couldn't quite get her down. She managed to, 2 penetrating damage per turn her way to killing one of my Lokis, and then I was on tilt for the rest of the game, just trying to regen and stay ahead of the curve to not give up that other piece. And I think our final score, let me see here, it was a loss for me. I had 125 points, and I think you had 144. So really close. I mean, that's just how it is with that team.
The exact number of
I remember your face. I just remember your face during the whole thing. You're just like clenching. You needed one of those stress balls, like I can't do this. And then after you were like, yes, and he's like, I'm so sorry, but yes. I don't mean to sound like a dick, but oh my god, this is the worst matchup for me. Oh.
I think I called you out on it too.
Yeah, you totally did.
You called me out on it?
Totally did.
It was like such a
I was like, no, I get it. I totally understand. It's okay. I've seen this reaction before.
How'd that go for you, Jason? Yeah!
So that was one of the 2 losses I had for the day. From there, I went up against, let's see here. Was that the last one for that round? That was 4 rounds.
There's one more round.
One more round, yeah. It was Gary Jones. The guy with the 2 Scarlet Witches in the Hulk. And it really was just about taking out the Scarlet Witches and then eventually taking out the Hulk on click 11.
Yeah.
By moving away, outwitting his charge, and then just whittling, continually. Whittle. It's going to be okay. Those damn tokens.
Every whittle bit counts.
It took a long time. I think it was like 30 seconds left in the match, and I managed to just nuke him. So that was a full clear for me. So that was day 1. Then we had the Brown Bag Challenge, which was so much fun. I had a great time. I know you've already mentioned it. If anybody is wondering what that is, you should totally ask Jason via email, because he doesn't like me telling people to do that.
Email is the best way to get my attention, because I can guarantee at one point I will answer your question. And it's just Facebook messages lately have just been getting lost, and I feel bad because we're usually really good about answering the Facebook messages, and I feel bad that they've been like I'm not getting my notifications for it or anything. Email comes to my phone. It comes to like 8 different things tell me I got an email from Married with Clicks. So
yeah, and if you really do want to know, you can always ask me or one of the other guys too, because we all know what a brown bag challenge is. And it's just a lot of fun. It's a great way to use clicks that nobody really wants because everybody has everything. And it's a semi-sealed. So that's all I'll say on that. Day 2, let's see here. I was matched up against one of our proteges, and he's listening right now. Devin Owens.
Hi, Devin.
He's great. He's a younger guy, and he played back in the old days when he was a kid, and he's just come back, but he still has lots of skills, and it's really great to see. He knows how to think inside of this game. He knows how to build teams. He built another Mary Marvel team. He's played that Mary Marvel team quite a bit, and he's adjusted it. And for some reason, every single time there's a tournament, he either plays me first or second. So he knows how to play against my team. And what ended up happening, I rolled shape change so many times. I think I rolled 6 shape change rolls. That's just an inordinate amount. Mind you, there are 2 other rollouts versus his team most of the time. One of the adjustments he'd done is he had put the Green Arrow card on there so that he gets or is it range from Green Arrow?
He gets range from Thor.
+2. You +2 attack. And
what are the 2 range ones? He had 2 range.
There's another
Hawkeye, I
main
think, is
range
+2 range.
+2 attack and making a ranged combat attack. I'm literally looking at it for Green Arrow.
There is
Yeah,
a
no,
Just needs for +2 range.
No, what is the one that gives you like 6 range or whatever?
Oh,
Well,
Thor.
that's Thor, and there is another one that gives you.
Yeah,
range.
he had both of them on
Okay.
there, and he rolled them a couple times, so Mary Marvel could actually shoot me without having to stop because of my plasticity. Because against Mary Marvel teams, I tend to turtle and put my Lust character in front because plasticity and hypersonic are not friends. So anyway, he won map roll. We ended up, I can't remember the name of the map. Anyway, it's a very, very wide open map. There's a little bit of elevated on either end, and it's pretty open other than a little bit of blocking in between, and a spattering or a stippling of hindering. And what ended up happening, he was playing Mary Marvel with Teakle, or sorry, not Teakle, well, obviously Teakle's there.
Blue Beetle. Blue Beetle was the one you were looking for.
No, it's not.
+2 range from Blue
It's
Beetle.
Clarion. Yes. The ID card. So anyway, Mary Marvel with Clarion and Hat.
Mm-hmm.
And they can all see Mary Marvel. I mean, they can all see the Lokis, so they're all able to draw a line. But they're still facing a whole bunch of rollouts. They're still facing a whole bunch of prob and potential for running shot with Pandora's Box. And I managed to take out Hat in one shot, which is the only potential Pulse Wave as well, and managed to take out. Oh, other than the Batman ID card, that he can bring in every. Oh, well, it doesn't matter anyway. It can't draw a line. So I took out first of all the Hat, then Clarion. Eventually, Teakle, he called in Thor as well, who missed, but leaves behind Jane Foster, healed up, Mary Marvel a couple times. And I'm probably botching this a little bit, so please forgive me, Devin, because the last match that I said that we played against each other, I totally botched. But the end result is the same. I did manage to win that one. I took 228 points in that match because I actually killed Thor.
I was trying to figure out what happened. Because on the side we did.
You were watching it. You had this funny look on your face, like, what the hell's going on there? And I ended up losing one Loki because I pushed to regen, and probbed it twice, and I still had a 2.
Which happened in our match as well, except for the 1.
Yeah, so he died. Oh no, he died.
And I didn't know you'd killed Thor, and so I was like, I think Mike is losing.
And now that now that the memory's coming back to me, he actually killed his own Clarion as well with a regen probbed roll. So it's just one of those.
Regen was just not meant to happen in that game.
No. And I have the push to regen button actually from that event. No one and I lifted my bag and I went, huh? And then I did it. It was fun. So anyway, yeah, that was a good match. Then warm up for the next one, which was versus good old Tom Kerr, the grand champion, master of the universe.
Something like that.
The
Yeah,
Canadian University.
that's right. Yeah, you are the best around, my friend.
Nothing's ever going to keep me down.
Now that which our match was fairly typical of our matches, and I had beaten you a few times actually with that Mary Marvel combo, but you'd mixed it up because you knew you were eventually going to face me. You brought in the 150-point Thor with running shot, 8 range, psychic blast, 11 attack. Not that really matters in this case. And you were able to eventually hit me. And that was the right choice because 8 range is just outside of Loki's range. He's 7 range.
Yep.
I adjusted after the first attack to increase the range on the one that I could because only one of them can increase range based on the actual possessors. It was on the same map as our last match, which is that damn turtle map. Just sidestep up, sidestep up, sidestep up. Oh, occasionally running shot. And eventually take out Jean Grey, which is actually what you want me to do because you want to move that dial on your round table to the end so you can start bringing in permanent characters.
And I did get there. I just never had a chance to bring in
You
a
did
permanent
not,
character.
yeah, you didn't quite have enough chance to do that. I tried really hard to take out your Nighthawk after my first Loki went down to be able to equal out the points because I think that would have put me just ahead. Not very much. It would have been like 5 points ahead.
Yeah, I think it would have.
Yeah, something like that.
It depends on how many ID cards I'd used at that time, but it was very
I would have squeaked it out. Yeah, I would have squeaked it out. And knowing Jason's dice in your round, I would have won the whole thing in that case.
Red Tornado doesn't have to roll high against you.
Anyway, you know it's a true joy to lose to your dancing partner, your one of your best friends in the world, and very close teammate. And I'm so happy that you won the thing. Coming in 5th, it's fantastic. I had such a good time, and then went on to play in a Civil War Battle Royal and beat Jay. So
nice.
You know, fairly.
That's the priority.
My favorite part of that was Jay's immediate reaction. I was like, what? So now you have his attention.
It was such a silly battle royal though in general, and I actually ended up giving him the Venom because that's what he really wanted out of it.
It was funny because we both switched sides because I wanted to be anti because they're pretty cool too, and then I got the awesome.
I've never been anti because I play pro at our venue, right? And I just really wanted to try it out. Mm-hmm. And pulled half decently. I really like, what's his name? What was that guy with the pulse wave, that crazy pulse wave?
Cobalt Man.
Cobalt Man. He's crazy good. Mm-hmm. I love that guy. When he pulse waves multiple people, you then get to roll a single d6 for each one of them. And the lowest number gets 1 penetrating damage afterwards. And if there's 2 of them with the exact same number, 2 or more, they all take a penetrating damage. It's fantastic. So good.
I didn't realize that the Bullseye wasn't a rare. He's only uncommon, but he's so good.
He's really good. That Bullseye is fantastic, yeah. Anyway, that's my story for the day. I was just so happy to be involved. I was so happy to be able to make it into help make it into such a success. And with that, I shall pass to Jason Collins.
Wait, can I just one sentence? I love how you beat me twice that day in 2 different events, but then we walked away with literally the exact same pricing.
It was great. Yeah, we actually both got a Brainiac Skull ship out of it. Yeah.
I'm done interrupting now.
All right. Now I get to go next because I placed in 2nd place. Spoiler alert, since we're going in reverse order.
That's fair.
And let me tell you, when you get to the finals, that is a long trek of Heroclix, and the only time you get to play in the side event is if it's after a day of play. So the only side event I got to participate in was the brown bag event, which I made the bags for. So,
no Gizzy backsies.
No Gizzy backsies.
No Gizzy backsies.
Somebody tried to give me back a brown bag and I slapped it out of their hand. Anyway, let's get into it. So my first round. For those of you who didn't know, I played a Quinjet team very similar to Patrick Iboko's World Championship team. There are 2 differences to my team, from my team to his team. One of which is obviously Nova not being a legal character, and that particular Nova not being legal in the format anymore, I have replaced Nova with the Black Canary ID card. Although when I look at the way she works, there's a potential for more damage output in the right situations with her. I love her anyway. So I've got that instead of the Nova, and I've put a green arrow in place of what's the figure here? Bucky, or the Bucky Barnes ID card. My thinking on that is the green arrow solves a big portion of the Doc Ock team problem, because Doc Ock team comes with a Vanisher, and if you know how to do the damage to the Vanisher, you just kind of watch that team coming at you, go whoop. Why can't we move anymore? Because Vanisher only has that power on the first couple clicks. So, as you can imagine, you can actually put a good hard stop on that. But that said, my first opponent, Mr. Jason Osorio, great player locally. He was playing a team that included the Doc Ock on his team, along with a Vanisher, a Fugitoid, and a Justin Safer. He had an Eclipso, I believe. He had a Possessor somewhere in there, and I have lost track of it, to be brutally honest. But
imagine Eclipso was on Doc Ock. It gives him a lot of survivability and persistent strength.
Yeah. And I think there was also a Kree Supreme Intelligence on that. Both Jimmy and Jason actually really used that strategy to the great potential, because instead of rushing to get to the back end dial of the Kree Supreme Intelligence, you just stop on precision strike and probability control.
Yeah.
Now, Jay had won the map roll and chose Hank Pym's lab. And you're going to hear me say my opponent won the map roll a lot. Because I won one map roll the entire tournament.
I won 2.
Yeah. Now Jay moved up with his team, and I knew immediately what had to happen, and it had to happen now, not later. And that was that I needed to take out my green arrow immediately, because he went full force. So I took out the green arrow, and because of the wall spacing and everything like that, I had to choose the ignore blocking, breakthrough blocking, line of fire arrow. This is, of course, a Trinity War green arrow from the Gravity feat.
Yeah.
I should be very clear about that, because that the OP kit one doesn't come back. So he's 135 points. He's got 12 range. Ignores characters, precision strike, ignores hindering trait. So I shoot through the wall, targeting the Vanisher. Because of my precision strike, it doesn't get a super senses, and I did 3 damage to Vanisher. That means Vanisher can't carry anymore, and I can now set a stronger pace. Jason's team does have a backup plan in case the Vanisher does get hard stopped like this, and that is in the form of the Fugitoid with Justin Safer. So what Jason had done was, and I think Jason, one of the things that kind of led to the way the game went is I don't think he read my sideline as well as he could have. Because he went and attacked my Atom, and after I had brought out the green arrow, I actually rolled 3. I rolled a 4 on the green arrow, which put me on 50. So the next turn, what I had done is I took a free action to bring out Tony Stark, who was going to pilot Iron Man, who was going to go pilot my Quinjet, and I rolled a 2 I brought out Tony Stark that turn because that was a free action. Sorry. So, on this turn, I brought out Green Arrow, rolled 4, brought out Tony Stark for free, reset, I rolled a 4 on this, put me at 40. But that's okay, because what he did is he killed my onboard Atom. So the next turn, what I did was I used my free action to bring out my other Atom as a permanent fixture to Colossal Retaliate. His Fugitoid was right next to everybody, and as a result, I just was able to do 2 damage to his entire team, finishing off his Vanisher, doing 2 damage to everybody else, which put him in a particularly awkward situation as well. My next move was to take out Nick Fury to put the final touch on the Doc Ock, because of all the blocking terrain I had destroyed just shooting at Vanisher in the first place. I now had a line of fire to Doc Ock, and Nick Fury came out, did a ton of damage to Doc Ock, and it was just a matter of time from here of just whittling away what was left of his team and I managed to get out his entire team. He scored. Everybody scored against me. Nobody left against me without points, because that's how the Quinjet works. I use ID cards, and I'm comfortable with that. My second round was against Patrick Chow, player I play against quite a bit because he's a regular at my home venue. Patrick's team had a lot of similar tech to Tom's team. He had a Red Sun Superman at 175 points, but he also had some sideline Supermans.
My other team.
Yeah, I'm going to build it later team. And on that note, so he had the Red Sun Superman, he had a movie Lex Luthor on the TK dial, and he had Nighthawk Prime on his team. So, obviously, Nighthawk Prime, I'm not getting bonuses, but my team, even though I do have a Henry on the team, I can live in a world without bonuses. But I guess there's Patrick didn't get a good read on the situation. He chose a great map. It was that, I think it was a Morlock's Tunnel map where I'm kind of stuck with like 4 squares with which to move out of. But it's one of the reasons Ultron 6 is on the team, is to break through some blocking whenever I need to, right? But he positioned himself getting ready for a big TK action, and this is another situation where that Green Arrow just shines. I had an Ultron with no action tokens, sidestepped, broke a piece of wall, brought out the Green Arrow prior to this, chose the Energy Explosion arrow this time, shot at the Lex Luthor, hitting everybody around him. Now let's put it. I believe that put an action token on me, courtesy of the Red Sun Superman. Mm-hmm. But the damage was done. 3 damage was done to Luthor. 3 damage was done to Nighthawk Prime. 1 damage went to Red Sun Superman, and there we go. The initial attack was done. Lex Luthor was no longer able to TK, which was one of the big threats to my team. After this point, I just chased the Nighthawk Prime down because I knew a big Nick Fury hit followed by a possible Atom retaliation was going to be what I needed for this to happen. And Patrick was in a situation where he had to attack with the Superman to get any kind of win. So he did end up making an attack with the Superman, which I was later in the game, which I was able to retaliate with my Atom. At one point, he was left with just his Red Sun Superman, and he really went to the tank to think. And just, guys, even when you had that last character, you got a lot of thinking to do. Just be aware that there's a clock running. Yeah. I politely tried to try and be like, he's been taking an awful long time on a turn. I generally don't do that, but they're like when 2 different time calls are called during a single turn, you kind of gotta push the player. But all that said and done, I mean, I can't fault him too much because I think he read the same situation I read, where there are 2 actions and then this is done. And you know, that was literally it. He called out a Batman with his Red Sun Superman, tried to make a decent-sized pulse wave, didn't quite get enough with the pulse wave, unfortunately, and I was able to, because his Batman wasn't far enough away from the Superman, I was able to retaliate in with Atom, call in Nick Fury. Nick Fury said nothing to the, or no defense power to those stop clicks, and mum's the word. So it was a game that went pretty formulaic. A lot of people, one of these guys, I got to tell you the strategy right off the bat. If you're up against Quinjet, you got to look at that sideline and what it's capable of, because it can come up and bite you if you're not really paying attention to what's back there.
Yeah. Way faster than you think it will, too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. The ramp-up's nuts.
Mm-hmm. Next up, in the 3rd round was Glenn Crawford. We've talked about his team already. It was a good team. Glenn overextended on 1 action, and is what it really came down to. He put a lot of effort into trying to one-shot kill my Green Arrow. I'm safe to guess Glenn didn't know how many clicks the Green Arrow had. So after he did a 4 damage single target pulse wave on the Green Arrow, on the next turn, I turned to him and I said, "It's 6 clicks." And he was like, "Okay." And then from there, I brought up Nick Fury. Nick Fury does what Nick Fury do to engineer, especially next to an actionless character and an enhancer. So Nick Fury attacked the engineer. I followed up with an Ultron drone just to kind of put the cap on it, and then that's how that came down to. I mean, it was probably a tough. It's a tough team. Like the Quinjet's a tough build if you're not specifically building with tools that can definitely beat it. And Glenn's team was good. He had a Mr. Mixes-Pitlick and an Atomica and an Engineer, and all are good figures. It's just you gotta look at how you can beat that. And if he probably had a better chance if he would have attacked my Ultron drones with a sizable attack over trying to take out the character that I called in. That's just a strategic error if you're not used to dealing with the team. Then we get into the fourth round, and as Mike described, it was his double Lokis versus my Quinjet. I had to get creative in this game because
you had immediate tilt, that's for sure.
Oh, I knew I was from the get-go. I had tilt face.
Yeah.
It's like I have the tools, but this is going to take work to get to, and I knew that there's a couple sacrifices I had to make.
I have a question for you. Question for you.
What's the question?
Did you poop a little bit?
No. Well, here, every roll that wasn't a 3 or higher on the resource, yes. Because I knew I had to get that resource rolling. So, yes, I called in that Atom early. That wasn't a game error. That was intentional. I needed to get that moving as fast as possible. So it was first turn, take an action. Second turn, clear, moves it up. Third turn, bring out the Atom. Let's see how I do. I think I rolled a 5 on that, which was pretty good, because the next turn I was able to bring out Tony Stark, and I think I rolled a 6 on that one, too. So I got lucky on those two. But then it was a matter of what can I do from here. And this is where I think Mike got confused by the move, but it was my Hail Mary of the game.
Yeah.
I brought out Black Canary, and then I moved everybody away from her. Now the goal on this was I needed Black Canary to roll a 4 or higher. That put me on 100, right? So with 100, I have the tools to keep Red Tornado on the board. So I moved up next to Mike, and Mike had an action on each of his Lokis, which is another key, because he doesn't want to push his Lokis to open himself up to any attack, because a Nick Fury can definitely do a ton of damage if he can just get a little bit of a line of fire.
Yeah, for sure.
So this was my commitment to this is going to happen now, and if this doesn't happen the way it's supposed to, this is how the game is going to go. So I put him out there, and Mike clears, but sidesteps away. But sidestep isn't far enough away for what I wanted to do. I take an Ultron, I call in Nightwing, I led this with bringing out the Red Tornado for free, then I called in the Nightwing. Now, the Red Tornado, and I had done this math 1,000 times, because on the road back from Ottawa, the three, me, Tom, and Mike, all figured out the tool I needed to beat Mike's team was the Red Tornado.
Yeah.
But my homework was to know how exactly to do it. So Jason's homework was take the Red Tornado, you do your free action knockback, which because Mike uses combat reflexes relics, he's stuck there. He's not going anywhere because it's not optional to ignore that knockback. So because he's still adjacent, he takes penetrating, and because it's not an attack, I don't take mystics. So I do a second one with a power action. I'm in happy camp. Now, because my Ultron didn't count as an attack, I've got a ton of things to do. I call up my Tony Zuko. I perplex up the attack. I perplex up the damage because Henry is dead. Mike made a very clever move of killing the Henry before this all happened because I had a ton of damage coming out of the Loki on the regen click because I knew when his one with the Brainiac was on the regen click, he only has invulnerable, which means he loses one of his rollouts as well. See all these things I have to think about, and
yeah,
he also
all the
doesn't have
things.
super senses, right? So I go in, and now I've just got to get past shape change. So I'm like, Mike, I really need you to not roll shape change. Charge flurry. He misses the first shape change. Yes, I can do this. My 12 attack hits for like 4. I think I was doing 4 damage. Yeah. Well, the damage I was actually assigning was like 4 or something like that. 2 got through.
Yeah.
In the end. But then, of course, I have to take the Mystics, which means I lose my Perplex, and the second attack ended up missing. I think it was 11 on an 18. Even with an Atomica prob, I couldn't get that second attack. But that's okay, because now I'm in a strong position. Mike is on the run now with that Loki, because he's in a damaged state on
11 on 20. Yeah, it was a high roll.
Yeah, it was a rough roll on the second one. I was whatever I could do to get whatever I could, right? But eventually, I just pressured that particular Loki as frequently as I possibly could, while at the same time putting the other Loki in danger with my Quinjet. I body blocked with the Quinjet basically, and just kind of put myself in the way so that he didn't have a strict answer to save the other Loki. And then eventually the Red Tornado wore him down, and I think I actually got an attack on you because you had a desperation move and put a second action token on yourself.
Yeah, because I didn't this time. I didn't double token this time.
No. Okay. I think there was one situation where you double token, but I couldn't call in anybody to capitalize. It was like, you smart bastard!
Yeah, no, not this time. No, I was very, very careful about double tokening this
But
time.
at the same time, even though I didn't get the kill on the Loki, Mike was able to capitalize on a wild Peggy Carter play I had made early in the game to try to get some early damage in to maybe get a bit of an advantage. Also to get that dial moving in. That was my one low roll with the Quinjet dial. So I was like, oh man, and then I'm gonna lose Peggy out of this. But so ultimately, between ID cards and the Atoms and the Peggy, I had the lead. Didn't know it until the end, and let out a little bit of an exasperated woo.
144 to 125.
Yeah.
So I just double checked in the sheets. Yeah.
Can I just point out that was literally the score of our game pre-Wed Wing, Mike?
What?
It is literally.
two games that didn't completely sweep. Mike and Jay, and that was how tight that game was. So yeah, we move next to to my game against Tom. Tom's team: Mary Marvel, Nighthawk Prime, Jean Grey, with a full round table with 6 ID cards of beauty. Great choices. And I think the last time we played in Ottawa, you didn't have Captain America on the.
No, I had Hulk, and the Hulk I'd chosen at that time was the 150-point Age of Ultron movie, Fast Forces 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll explain a little bit about my changes to my team, but yeah, that was the only difference.
So, and this is the one dice roll I won, or this was the only map roll I won. So I put us in Jean Grey school, which gives me hiding spots because Tom's map choices against me give me nowhere to hide, and he gave me no options to hide. So now, unfortunately, as well, me and Tom, having played this matchup before, I know how the first 2 turns go, and it's not good for my team. The turns are not good for my team at all. It is just, all right, did anything survive? Nothing survived? Okay, cool, let's move. All right. What do I got? I still got Adams out there, and I got a Quinjet. All right, so I'm going solo with the Quinjet. Let's see what I can do. And my goal is get up in Tom's face as fast as I can. Now, this time around, I had something left on the board, an Ultron to call in with.
You did.
So I actually had 2 things to call in with, which I really need against Tom's team. So I went in guns a-blazing. Well, not really blazing, but more engines roaring. I got the pressure on him, and then took out the Jean Grey to knock down some of his mobility, and did get the Nighthawk Prime.
And let's not forget the plasticity from Atomica. That on that Jean Grey map, you could really use that effectively in a way that you couldn't have had I been able to take the map roll.
Yeah, because when you win the map roll, you get a lot of open space to do the mop-up portion with the Mary Marvel. Because it's not just Mary Marvel call-in thing, run away. That's just the first 2 turns.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or first 3 turns, rather. Then it's Mary Marvel, who's rough as it is, and the amount of damage that you can potentially do right off the get-go with that team is really good. So Tom had a great start, and I was able to just put the pressure on him as I did when we were played in Ottawa, and kind of capitalize on positioning and points.
Never got to my 3 on my round table, which I was really hoping for, but I had some bad rolls when I was taking damage. So.
Yeah, and on against Tom, my resource rolls were mediocre. They weren't exceptionally high, but they were kind of like, I had a 2. It's like, okay, that's annoying. Oh, I had a 5. Okay, I made up for the 2. Yeah. I mean, I really wasn't angry with the way the resource rolls went on that one. More on that later. More on that specific detail later. So then we get to the next day. We played in the Brown Bag Challenge. I had a bit of fun. Played loose and gandery. Let the judges play. Answer most of the judge questions myself. But went into the next day. My first round, I went 5-0, of course, in the first day. I don't know if you noticed. So that put me in first. So seeding rounds put me up against the 16th place player, Mr. Rob Magwood. Great guy, wonderful person. He did travel a long way to get here, and I hope he had a ton of fun. His team was really cool to look at across the board. It was the Con Brainiac Skull Ship, it was the Retail Brainiac Skull Ship, and it was 2 Solaris. So it was 4 colossal robots across the table for me. And when I first heard what he had, it was like, what am I going to do against this? The Skull Ship at 125s, both of them at 125s, which means they're played at 100 points with their fun dials. So there was drones everywhere on the map, and he pushed forward to get the city dial going. But a big difference maker right from the get-go was a big Nick Fury attack. I dealt 5 damage to the Con Skull Ship, and then Rob did not hit with his Solaris retaliation, and at this point my dice rolls on the resource tile were so high. By turn 2, I was able to free action out a red tornado, sidestepped out, free action, killed Solaris, and then I followed that up with a power action to bring out. I can't remember who I brought out, but it was just somebody to finish off the other Skull Ship. Rob looked at it and said, "I'm glad you're not a jerk." And we smiled. I explained strategy to him, a couple ideas, some tricks that I talked to him about Tom's team, and we talked our way through the end of the game. I gave him some pointers about how you gotta look at how the other team is going, and sometimes dice just aren't going to get along with you. He was actually pretty confident going in because for him he said, "Rock dice, they're really good to me and hate everybody else, right?" And unfortunately, this time around, it seemed to actually go the other way. He maybe should have kept that quiet because the rock dice can hear you. You see. So then the next round of we are now in the top 8, and this is where I played against Jay. And as Jay described, he did have an early lead, but I changed focus in my game because initially I was trying to kill his small stuff. But his small stuff is not worth the effort as much as my team was a little bit more capable of doing more blocks of damage to his team. And that was so I was like, okay, let's get the Quinjet.
Your Henry did go a long way there.
Oh yeah, Henry. Well, I mean, Henry helps me do the damage, right? Henry does the damage. A lot of I have a few more higher point characters on my build or on my sideline than you have. And I like there, when it gets to characters who are over 100 points, I have 3 people who can call them in as opposed to just the one, right? So and I kind of use that to the best of my ability, but really it came down to I was able to kill the Quinjet, and that's what put me over the top. Jay was able to capitalize and kill my Green Arrow during the game, and he did get to my 2 atoms. But with the atoms, yeah, the killing the Green Arrow was the point where I said, this Quinjet has to die now. That's my only option.
Yeah.
Right? And I made a ton of mistakes going in. I tried to pulse wave, and when you had a Superman
My permanent Superman Boomerang. That was literally the only time in the whole tournament that trait mattered.
Yeah. And what ends up happening is people see it, and they just don't bother pulse waving, right?
Right. Well, there was never any pulse wave to matter.
Yeah. And I did this thing that I have a nasty habit of doing where I think I said a thing, and then I forgot to tell Jay that I would cancel the defense power when I was attacking with Nick Fury. It's like, well, there goes 2 damage. I could have just dealt to that Quinjet a little easier. So a number of mistakes that I made, and I still able to squeak out a win.
I think my biggest mistake was more funny than your biggest mistake when I thought that your Quinjet was a Colossal when I was also playing a Quinjet. So I positioned my Nightwing in a way that if it was a Colossal, totally, but I forgot the combat symbols of my own character as well. So
Good, that's worse than my mistake.
It is a very large
I hated to just disappoint you when you went to Running Shot Pulse with my whole team, and then I basically said, well, no.
I don't remember the lineup of the Parademon, but I feel like the Parademon was available.
The Parademon is the worst part of the team, and I'm happy that Superior Spider-Man lets you replace it. Because
that thug.
The Parademon has been my undoing. Mike, did you kill my Parademon? Just curious, now that I think about it.
No.
Oh, okay. The Parademon is the worst part of the team, and the thug being 4 clicks is fantastic.
Yeah. All right. So then we get into the next round. This is in the top 4. And incidentally, it totally dawned on me today when Mike put a big post of it on Facebook. Team Story was in the top 4.
We were the top 3. In fact,
we were the top 3, and yes, actually, after everything was done, Team Story was the top 3. So Mike's team was Prime Sunfire, 120 point. He had a Beast.
100-point Beast.
Super rare. Shh, I'm telling the story here, Mike. And a Jarvis along with a full Pandora's box. And of course, Mike's strategy was, I got a ton of defense. I'm just gonna go God it. And I saw that. I was like, uh-oh. I can't let this happen because then I'm going to lose. So Mike put us in the Jean Grey School, which is one of my map choices for a number of reasons. One of which is the Quinjet can maneuver around it a little better than a lot of people give it credit for. In fact, I learned that when I played against Jay the first time when he was using the Quinjet, and I was using this Magneto thing that I was trying out.
Triple Magneto?
Yeah, my triple Magneto build.
Yeah, it's a good build.
It was interesting. It just wasn't enough.
Your dice. That was the only occasion I've actually seen you throw dice. Your dice were outrageously bad.
That was the worst. I'm so glad we practiced, and I'm so glad these are my walls that because man, I throw dice at practice a lot. Anyway, so when I realized what Mike was trying to do, I think we got to turn 5 when I knew it was like this has to go now or never, and he had Jarvis in some hindering terrain, not far enough back and not on the right angle to be not shot. So once again, Green Arrow comes to the rescue. And I called in Green Arrow, carried Henry along with him, put an Atomica into a position, chose a Psychic Blast arrow, and went to Psychic Blast Jarvis for as much as I could possibly throw at him. And I even perplexed up my attack to make sure of it. Now, Jarvis has a 16 defense, he has got stealth, and he's got that cool power that reduces damage to 1. The problem is, because it reduces damage, it can be penetrated. And as a result, the arrow was able to take him out in one shot, and thus saving me the problem of godhood. Now, this also forced Mike into a situation where he has to counterattack and start scoring some points. So Mike does go gunning for one of my drones, and neglected my Atom waiting in the back end for him. So my Colossal Retaliation hit both his Sunfire and his Beast, which really started to put the momentum in my favor, and I was able to just kind of start getting things going, and everything just kind of started to work for me. Mike did throw a couple extra shots in there, some really good some penetrating energy explosions, which took out some more Ultron drones, but with the damage that I had done already, and still having the second Atom out on the board, and plenty of ID cards to go, I was able to kind of just start putting things together for me. And Mike, Mike was looking at it and said, "I'm just gonna fight it out anyway." And we smiled and laughed our way through the game, and ended up with another W for me. So I am now at this point 8-0 going into the final against Tom. Now, I tried to avoid these days immediately blaming dice, but they didn't help this time around. Tom won dice for a map roll. That's a 50-50 in our case. He doesn't have a theme. I don't have a theme. Whoever rolls higher, rolls higher. I'm over it.
Yep. You won the first time. I won the second time.
Yeah. But my resource rolls on the Quinjet, my highest roll was a 4 the entire game.
Yeah.
And it was 2s and 1s every time I rolled it. And if you can't get that thing moving, you can't get big enough characters out. I apparently at times I got desperate and tried to. I didn't get my Tony Stark in the Quinjet. I decided to use him to blow up a wall to get line of fire with somebody to try to get an attack, which got shape changed, and I was like,
Prop, I think. Actually, I think I propped it with Mary Marvel.
Yeah, you propped it with Mary Marvel, and it was like I needed a 5, and it turned out to be a 3 or a 4, and it's just. But and I don't want to take away from Tom because Tom played his team correctly, and the combination of Tom playing his team correctly and me not being able to make anything stick and correctly and use anything to my advantage really just kind of put the nail on the coffin. And unfortunate fact is, if you play this game long enough and you know how this game rolls, by turn 2 I already knew exactly how the game was going to go. I was just going through the motions and hoping that the 3 or 4 options that I had to get super lucky would have turned out for me. They didn't. Tom was way more optimistic about my odds than I was.
Well, you had that one support 6 that brought you back up, and around that time you also got a high roll on your resource dial, so it looked like maybe things were turning a little bit. By that point, Jean Grey was dead, and although Nighthawk wasn't dead, he was damaged, and so it was you hadn't gotten Mary Marvel down once yet, let alone twice, and so there was a ways to go.
Yeah.
So, and I still had Nick Fury waiting in the wings. So.
Yeah, and all of these things combined to just be like, yeah, this is just not gonna happen. And if I look back at it, there's no sitting back and waiting for Tom to come to me. He'll just keep going back and forth, and my team is dead before I can, sit back and say, "Ha, you can't get me." That's not an option against Tom's team. So, I mean, really, when everything comes down to it, I have to pressure him, but my pressure does have to come with some results.
Right.
And in the 3 games that we've played, this is the first time Tom has beaten me because the pressure just couldn't stick. It was a slippery slope the whole time, and I feel sorry for the spectators. For one, I hate spectators.
Oh.
It's you know what? It's hard when it gets crowded and it's already hot and everything like that. And it's not that I hate them as people. It's just I hate having a crowd around my game. I hate the attention. That's why I video my games.
The overleaners are the worst.
But gladly there were no overleaners. I would have politely asked them to back off. But I could almost feel the crowd cringe at my dice as much as I was. And it as a statement to those dice, even though, and the reason I did this is because I also own a pair of those rock dice in that design. Plus, there's a few extra. Might have a bonfire later. I threw those ones out just because I guess they'd worn out their welcome. They'd been rolling mediocre for most of the day 2, and just that last game they tanked on me. But Tom played a heck of a game. It was a heck of a tournament. I may need a new white Married with Clicks shirt for sure. But yeah, it was tough. You go through all of that. You go undefeated the whole time, and just that one game, and just so much that's out of your control in that case that I couldn't capitalize on. But I don't want to take too much away from Tom's storytelling because I talk as much as Tom likes to talk. So, Tom.
Well,
first place.
I don't know about that last thing. Go on, Tom.
All right. Well, I'm not gonna. I won't go on too great a length. I mean, Patrick did ask.
We love your voice.
Oh, Patrick did ask me to write it up for the Majestic CCG, which I will happily do. And so hopefully I'll be able to get that done in a way that's legible, and we can get that up and readable. Yeah, well, obviously I had a pretty successful weekend. Much like Jason, I went 8-1, and his only loss was to me, and my only loss was to him. So
timing is the issue.
Timing was everything. To clarify my team, it was Mary Marvel, Nighthawk Prime, Jean Grey, a full round table consisting of ID cards for Captain America, Shield Level 7, Thor, Batman, Green Arrow, and Iron Man. I had a number of different options for some of these. I had 3 different Thor options, being Lady Thor if I needed somebody who could target regardless of elevation characters or hindering. I had the Age of Ultron main set Thor if I wanted to pop out a Jane Foster Pog for some support if I felt I was going to take a lot of damage. Or I had the Age of Ultron Fast Forces Thor because he's got Psychic Blast, Running Shot, 2 targets, 4 damage. He's the only one at that point cost that has that, so that he could potentially kill 2 Ultron drones in one shot. Yeah, he's also a better choice for attacking Loki. I realized that after the first time Mike beat me. I mean, he had been on my force the first time, but I had chosen the Jane Foster one because I thought I wanted Precision Strike. I realized later I'd rather have Psychic Blast because I'd rather face one more rollout on behalf of trying to get more damage rather than less damage and one less rollout. But anyway,
and the range with the prop.
Yes, and the range as well. Like in general, it was a better choice, and I should have gone with it the first time, and I realized that after the first time. But it should be noted that between all the different characters I did on my sideline, which the very quick rundown, if anyone wants to hear, is SR Captain America from Avengers Assembled, Nova Steve Rogers, if I ever want to go for somebody only to be able to bring out on power number 3, Nick Fury, the 3 Thors I mentioned, Trinity War Batman, Trinity War Fast Forces, Green Arrow, and the Age of Ultron Fast Forces Iron Man, who doesn't get talked about a lot, but he does have the ability to Running Shot, Psychic Blast through blocking. So I had a lot of different characters that were designed to be able to shoot through or around any type of terrain or character that might be in their way. And just as a brief side note, because of the fact that there were 9 characters, many of them with different point values, some of them that could be switched out for different ID cards, like the SR Captain America could go on the Shield Level 7, and the Steve Rogers could go on the Captain America, for example. There are actually 160 distinct arrangements of my round table. And this is something that just...
Why would you do that to yourself?
I just did the math today because I was thinking about it. And it's my PSA for anybody using the round table. Don't think, here are my 6 cards, so here are my 6 characters. Think, what is the absolute greatest possible flexibility I can get out of the number of different characters and starting line options I have on my side? Because honestly, there were a lot of games which I suspect would have gone quite differently had it not been for a few of the other options. Devin mentioned one while I was at the bar talking to him that it's valuable sometimes to play Batman at his lower point value, Trinity War Batman, if you're facing a Loki who cannot be running shot. So you prick the guy who's got charge. Great call. I actually didn't think of it, so I credit Devin for that insight, and did that in my game against Mike. There are times when I'd rather have charge exploit from Captain America as opposed to sidestep persistent strike. You think about all the different options you've got is what I'm getting at. Anyway, that's enough out of that. That's my team. On day 1, then I started out facing Trevor Vasser, who was he's an incredible player. I love playing against him. Unless I really want to win, in which case I hate playing against him because he's really good. He's an amazing player. He's from north of Barrie, which is outside Toronto, and he's a great player. He is a very smart builder. But boy, he's a beast of a man to try to beat. He was playing another Mary Marvel team. There were a lot of them. I was really surprised. I guess
there were 5 or 6 of them.
Which is strange to me. I guess I should mention the basic functionality of my team is Jean Grey, free TKs Mary Marvel up. Mary Marvel calls out somebody. That somebody running shot and blasts to the opposite character starting zone. Then I use Jean Grey's power action to pull Mary Marvel back. Now the character that shot is not within 5 of Mary Marvel anymore, so they disappear, so Colossal Retaliation can't trigger, and I'm back in my starting area having attacked the opposite side, and then next turn I clear, and repeat as needed until my opponent starts to gut across and put some pressure on, at which point Mary Marvel can become the primary attacker on the team. Nighthawk is, of course, there just to shut down modifiers, but once my opponent starts to come across the team, then he becomes a valuable little mobile outwitter, and in general, a little bit of a mouse for them to chase, because everyone wants to chase Nighthawk Prime, which is fine by me. I just like to run around, they chase away, and Mary Marvel's blasting away. So that's how the team functions in short. And I'll go into more of that if and when I read it up. Trevor was playing a Mary Marvel with a Calypso, Element Man, and a Pandora's Box, and it was a very healing-oriented and damage-soak-oriented team, because he had Sloth on Mary Marvel, with shape change on her from an Calypso, plus her own invincible. She's hard to hit. If you do hit her, Sloth heals you back up. If you hit the last click, you can regen. Sloth can keep healing you. Element Man is invincible until such time as he decides to take regeneration and rolls back. So my first match against Trevor was me doing my tactic of sending people out to shoot his team, and then he would just heal them back up. It happened 3 times. I was able to reload one of my cards, but 3 times in a row I came out and did varying amounts of damage to one or both members of his team, and in all cases just kept healing it back up, But even though at that point I had let there was a points deficit on my side, ultimately, if I was going to keep attacking until something was able to stick for the long haul, so he did have to come across the board to face me. When that did happen, then I got Nighthawk Prime safely out of the way, and the rest of them all fought it away, and he couldn't really get the damage done without modifiers. A Mary Marvel that can hit with an Ultra Heavy beats a Mary Marvel whose Ultra Heavy's modifier is ignored. So ultimately I took out his Mary Marvel, got to number 3 on the round table, brought out Iron Man and someone else. I think it might have been Cap, and then I had a big numbers advantage against his Element Man and just kept plugging away until it finished him off. My second round was against a gentleman named Steven, who was playing a very similar concept to mine, actually, a Jean Grey round table, except that his, rather than Mary Marvel, was Target Superman at 225 points.
Oh my god!
At that point, you can't complete your round table, but boy, can you ever get some high-point powerhouses on there. You had the 200-point Wonder Woman, 200-point Lex, as well as a Nick Fury and somebody else. So he, and of course, you don't really need to call people in. That Target Superman can just crush face. However, one thing that worked, I think, a little bit to my advantage was that he one map, oddly enough, that worked to my advantage, because he chose a map with lots of walls. I think not realizing that his Superman could fly through them, not realizing how many of my call-ins could shoot through them. So he kind of set himself up behind a wall fairly confidently, and then I shot through the wall at Jean Grey so that he no longer had the free TK to take advantage of the round table folks to get back at me. So Superman had to come and do it himself. I had placed Nightwing away from the team so he couldn't get next to Nightwing and attack Mary Marvel and get his modifiers or whatever. But he did come in and smoke Nightwing in one shot. My shape change failed, and he smacked him for 8 damage. So that was not great, but it still left him open. I managed to miss him with a Nick Fury, and then he managed to miss me, I think, with a Wonder Woman, so our dice were both rolling cold. But I had more call-ins, more options. He came in and took out Jean Grey, but he couldn't take out Mary Marvel fast enough for me to not bring out Batman to pulse wave him, knock him down, and then I had reloaded by that point Nick Fury to come in and finish him off. So it went in my favor largely, I think, because he may have misjudged the map setup. I could be wrong. Maybe he had that in mind, but I know there was a point at which he had meant to maybe be able to TK, and he realized there was a wall in his way that there weren't as many walls in my way as long as I could be shooting through them. My third match was against Matt Ryan, who's one of the patrons for the channel, and he's just an incredibly lovely gentleman. And he was playing a fantastic team of Coriander with Eclipso, Iceman, Atomica, the Atom, and Pandora's Box. And the idea with that team is it's very much a two-pronged attack. Iceman's the lockdown attack, but Coriander and Eclipso is the big swing hit hard attack. He's also got Atomica for prob and the Atom for colossal retaliation. So he's covering a lot of bases. And it's not based around any particular synergy. It's based around doing an awful lot of different things. Again, it's hard for him to deal. Pandora's Box still has a ramp up, and so he was in his end. He won map, and he got set himself up in the corner to start adding Pandora's Box things. But as soon as I had the opportunity, which was I guess turn 1, because he had taken an action to assign Iceman a relic, then there was an Iron Man blasting him halfway down his dial, and then I was back in my starting area. He started to move up, but couldn't move up fast enough because they cleared, and then was able to send in somebody to finish off Iceman. Then it was just Coriander. Coriander couldn't benefit from her modifiers without getting next to Nightwing or Nighthawk, and I had placed him as far away as he could be. All the while he couldn't be using Colossal Retaliation. So ultimately, Coriander did make a series of strafing runs, but couldn't do enough damage to catch up. And ultimately, Coriander versus Mary Marvel was a bad matchup for Coriander. So even when I was not calling in people to do the fighting for me, Mary Marvel was doing the fighting to finish Coriander off. Then the Atom came over, did what he could do, but Mary finished him as well. So it was just kind of a bad match because I was very Alpha Strike oriented, and his team is great, but it needs to survive a couple rounds to get all the Pandora's Box stuff out to really get Iceman to where he needs to be fully effective, which is sidestepping to keep locking people down and across the field. The fourth round was against the all-familiar Lex Luthor Double Atomica team. This was Eric Edwards, who's an incredible player. I've played the same team in Ottawa, and I narrowly won that one by far more good luck than good management. This time around, he had the same team, Lex Luthor, 2 Atomicas, and Wonder Woman, Batman, and Green Lantern ID cards to bring in the flirting Wonder Woman, the Trinity War Batman, and the KC Green Lantern. And the nice thing about my team against his is that if he places the 2 Atomicas next to each other, then Green Arrow can take Energy Explosion, kill one, and then explode, kill the other. He learned that the first time, so he didn't place them next to each other. So I had to go one at a time, but I still have much more swing, and he doesn't want to give up that subterfuge token any sooner than he absolutely has to. So much like the first time, I was able to take out both Atomicas before he really was in a position to counterattack. But I should mention the one thing I did in this round that I didn't do at any other point in the tournament was I figured if I'm going to deal with Lex Luthor, I wanted a more reliable Pulse Waver. So I used the I'm better suited for these foes power on the round table to switch Mary Marvel out for KC Batman, so that I would have a more full-time Pulse Waver, which seemed like a good idea at the time. But it was not a good idea because I got too aggressive with it, and I shouldn't, and I knew it was a mistake, but I misjudged, I misremembered how many clicks Lex Luthor had his outwit leadership power for. So I came in and pulse waved him, but I perplexed the wrong value, so I left him with that power. He rolled his leadership successfully, popped the token off himself, brought out Wonder Woman, and almost killed Batman in one go. If not for one bad roll and a flurry, Batman would have been crushed completely. Instead, Batman was crippled and couldn't take pulse wave anymore. And now I was really in trouble, so I started running. He chased me down. To make a long story short, his Batman killed my Batman. So then it was, I couldn't call it any more ID cards. I wasn't on the third of my round table. I was in big trouble. It was Nighthawk Prime and Jean Grey versus Lex Luthor. He still had a subterfuge token and had no desire to get rid of it. And because he has plasticity, his sidestep almost always works. So it was just, I base him, he sidesteps away. I sidestep after him, he sidesteps away and outwits my sidestep. I free TK next to him. He sidesteps away and outwits my free TK. I sidestep next to him. And we just did this basically all the way back across the map until he lost confidence in his ability to keep breaking away. He eventually reasoned that sooner or later he was going to fail the breakaway, and then I would be able to attack him, and he was already deep enough down his dial that I might kill him or at least damage him. So he turned it around, went for an attack, his dice flew out the window, cracked into 99 different pieces, and then came up and added to a really low roll. That's a creative way of saying that he rolled badly. So he missed Nighthawk Prime.
Creativity against our game.
Yeah. He missed Nighthawk Prime, even though he did not need much of a roll to get it. Well, I guess he needed a 7. He was deeper in his dial. So he needed a 7. He rolled like a 5. Sidestepped away, and then I could outwit his toughness and shot him to death with Nighthawk Prime in one go. So I won that one by beating Lex Luthor with a Nighthawk Prime. And that was the highest tension moment of the day. So I was emotionally crushed by the time I went against Jason in the 5th round. And Jason's already described the match. He won the map roll, which is my biggest fear against that team because it does limit my options. I need to point out at this point that Jason is an absolute master of placement. And as Kevin Afruz mentioned on a recent episode of Critical Clicks, the difference between a good player and a great player can often be summed up in knowing exactly where to put their pieces. And Jason really did that well. Not only was I limited in options on the map, and limited in options in the way he set up, but the way that he deployed his team and moved it even further limited who I could draw a line of fire to. So I did kill one Ultron drone, but I couldn't get the other. That was pretty crucial. He cornered me and took out a Jean Grey. I took out both the atoms one way or another, but I wasn't able to finish the deal. And there was one moment where I made a tremendous mistake, where I brought out a Batman that could have healed Mary Marvel back up to her top click and made her much more viable. But instead, I went aggressive with an energy explosion. It did take out the Green Arrow that you brought out as a real boy, and damaged the Quinjet a little bit, but it wasn't enough. And it meant that Mary Marvel was vulnerable to being tagged a couple of times quickly, which would not have been the case if I was back on Invincible. So that was obviously my mistake and my error, and I tried to learn from it to take it into the next game. It didn't wind up really being necessary, but that I definitely would have played that one differently in the future. But again, Jason he's playing an outstanding team and he's an outstanding player, and that's a pretty rough combo. So that's fine. I was still in 4-1. I came in third in the Swiss and got into day two. Day two started off with me against a guy named Derek who was playing the SR Phoenix with the 10 points to turn into Prime Phoenix, along with Living Lightning with Proteus, Morlock, and Pandora's Box. And in case you're wondering what that is all about, think about what kind of havoc that would wreak against a robot team. Living Lightning plus Proteus with a TKer is ungodly. You'd be doing triple target Psychic Blast energy explosion with a 12 attack, 4 damage from one starting zone to the next. That's pretty devastating. Unfortunately, in our case, he got first round immunity mixed up in his mind. So when we rolled map, he let me choose the map. I believe thinking that I would go first, commit myself, then he would be able to come and attack me. I passed my first turn. He still started to make moves as if to come attack me, and I reminded him that he wouldn't be able to draw a line of fire before he committed to any actions. He didn't initially twig to what that was, and then we remembered the exact wording on first round immunity, and he realized he'd made a horrendous mistake. And so he left himself open for me to come across, damaged Phoenix. I got a big energy explosion off that killed the Morlock, damaged the Phoenix, damaged Living Lightning. He started to come across the field. I killed the Living Lightning. He brought Proteus over. Nick Fury came over, took away the thing that says you can only hit me with close combat attacks, and blasted Proteus to pieces. And then the team just sort of laid into Phoenix, turned her into the Prime, but didn't give him any good options for Pulse Wave, and then brought out, I think, Nick Fury. I think I've been able to reload Shield level 7, so I brought out Nick Fury again to finish Phoenix off. So that was a bit of a misjudgment on his part in terms of the map, and that kind of killed him from there on out. He had a good team, he played it really well, but he was in a bad situation. That got into the match with Mike. This would be the Mike that's on this show. With his double Lokis, both with entities and a Pandora's Box. I very, very closely considered changing my Mary Marvel for Thor, so that I had Thor full time. But I kind of thought that if I did that, you would outwit Thor's defenses, and you would chew through him faster than I gave you credit for. At least that's what you try to do, and I assumed you would succeed with it. I mean, you don't have the modifiers with Nighthawk Prime there, but you don't really need them with all the props. So I wanted the defensive option. That Thor did come out, and early on had a great opportunity that I just flubbed the roll. Like I needed I guess 7.
You did 7. Yeah, you rolled a 4 and a 6.
Yeah, it was too bad. But whatever, it is what it is. I knew I had to commit points early on, so I was going to have to put myself on tilt. And you did realize that I was just going to burn through the table to bring out my Steve Rogers Nova, who was a big pulse waver that could definitely target you. So you needed to come across the field at me. I was able to get a couple of people off that softened you up, and then got on able to reload the Thor to bring the Thor back out, and he finished off one of the Lokis. You finished off my Jean Grey, damaged my Nighthawk, and then that was the moment at which I was considering what to do, because I was on number 3, and I could have brought out Nova, but I decided discretion was the better part of valor, brought out Batman, supported Nighthawk Prime back up to top of his dial, and at that point you didn't have the damage output to really get through him in the time that we had left. No. So it just kind of timed out. I think given a few more turns, I don't exactly know what would have happened. I would have brought out Nova.
I screwed up one thing, and that was when we were close to your starting zone, and you had Jean Grey in front of Nighthawk. Excuse me, and Mary was over on from your perspective, the right side of the table. Or from your team's perspective, the starting zone perspective.
Yep.
I rolled to breakaway sidestep instead of rolling to breakaway running shot.
Right.
And I didn't just because I could have running shot and shot Jean and then sidestepped into Nighthawk.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would have had my modifiers, and it would have been a hell of a lot harder for you to even touch me. Plus, then you at least have to roll breakaway, and you're going to have to roll breakaway twice. You know, that could have changed the pace of the game, and realistically, you won by a few points.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a good game.
Oh yeah, like you played the heck out of it, and you're right. That one mistake may have been the game one way or another. I mean, there are a lot of moments that could have been the game one way or another. That big first alpha strike, I had gold in my eyes, and then I just missed. and who knows what could have been, but
something else in your eye. Then.
Could have been, yeah.
But it was a tight one. That put me into the semifinals against Trevor Visser again. Who again? I love Trevor Visser, but I didn't want to face him because I was sure
the
he was going to beat
semifinals,
me
right?
this time.
The semifinals.
That's why I tried to say that. Yeah. Trevor was going to beat me, but in this case, I got one of the luckiest I'll definitely. I know it's getting late, so I'll make this story my long story short. Once again, I came out. I got Matt this time, so again, I started aggressively by going out and blasting him. Once again, he was healing it back. He came back to corner me. We fought it out for a while. This time, Element Man cornered Nighthawk after Jean Grey was dead, and I had the way he had positioned, I had no way of getting a single target pulse wave on Element Man, because you've got a pulse wave on Element Man. Otherwise, with Invincible, Shape Change, and Super Senses, you're never going to hit him. I could have brought out Batman, but Batman had no angle to get there without getting my own guys in the pulse wave range, unless Nighthawk rolled a 6 to break away. And I rolled a 6 to break away. So I sidestepped away on my 6. Neither one of us could believe it. We just figured the plasticity meant you never broke away, and that was just how it went. It was a big gamble, but it paid off. I brought Batman out, got a single target pulse wave that damaged him badly enough that Nighthawk himself then shot Element Man to finish him. His Mary Marvel came after my Nighthawk. It went back and forth a bunch of times. I got to the end of my round table and brought out Cap and Iron Man and started swarming at him just like our first game, and the numbers game worked to my advantage. And then there was the final with Jason, which Jason has already explained. I do feel badly about the fact that Jason's dice rolls were not great. I mean, it wasn't. You got the one good support, and you had a couple of successful attacks, but the fact that you missed the map roll meant that I was going to get more opportunities to attack you, and having learned a little bit from our first couple games, I had learned a little bit more about how I wanted to target you anyway, and which sideline characters I would be laying out. And so, as before, I got a lot of early attacks, but unlike our other game this weekend, I got both Ultron drones down, as well as Henry, and I think Atomica died halfway across the field too. So
Atomica died in the same time as the Ultron drone because you Green Arrow.
Yeah, that was the Green Arrow one. Yeah. And so you came across the field, and that was a triple target, right? It was both Atoms and an Ultron drone and Atomica. No, it was both
because Atomica was going to get splashed.
Yeah, it was actually the Quinjet and both Atoms and splash onto Atomica. Yeah. So Atomica died, both Atoms died, and the Quinjet took damage. That was pretty rough. And so you cornered me. You got Black Canary out to damage Nighthawk Prime. Then you pushed Black Canary, even though she was a real girl, so she was going to die. But it was worth it to get the dual target pulse wave to finish Nighthawk and damage Mary Marvel, and you missed the roll. Yeah. And it just that was really too bad.
Yeah. I think I needed a 5 to finish off the Nighthawk, and that's what hurt my feelings the most.
Yeah, because at that point you just pulled back. I mean, even though you were technically behind on points, you had to regroup. So you pulled back. I left Nighthawk where he was, and then chased you down with Mary Marvel, and finished it off.
Yeah.
So all of my games actually were wipeouts except for my game against Mike. So there was one nice thing about this particular team is it either wins or doesn't. You don't have an awful lot of squeakers. All I can really say is that I had a wonderful time. I mean, obviously it's a great time when you win and everybody likes to win. But I'll have to say that the whole thing was so well run and so enjoyable that I would like to be able to say that regardless of what the outcome had been, I would feel very positive about the whole event because it was so well organized, so well run, and there were so many good people there that it made it an enriching experience to be a Heroclix player. I mean, I'm not gonna. I don't want to gush on and on, and admittedly, I'm sure I feel more favorably disposed towards it because it turned out well for me. But even without that, it still was a dynamite good time, and I want to thank you guys all for making it great, Mike particularly, and everybody who organized it. It was real fun.
I love that both Jason and Mike crushed me, but then we spent the whole weekend together. But then you didn't even play against me, but then you won. It's just so weird how these things work out.
Indeed. We saw so much of each other except across the table.
I don't know. 1 point difference isn't really a crushing.
Yeah, I'm just totally, when I go to Vegas, I'm stealing your Loki team. Just bring it with me.
You're allowed. You can borrow it if you want.
Shh. I'm out of secret tech.
But you should replace Wrath with Sloth.
Secret tech. Shh.
Also, I should point out that, and I don't know whether, Jason, I suspect this will make you feel worse more than it'll make you feel better, but I'm going to do it anyway. Between Ottawa and this weekend, I was thinking about all the different times that Mike, Jason, and I have faced each other in some capacity between those two tournaments. There were seven matches total. Between those 7 matches, Mike has 2 victories and a tournament win. I have 2 victories and a tournament win. Jason has 3 victories and no tournament win. But 2 second places, which is a better overall score than either one of us. So I think that we're all winners. Also, Jay.
For your wonderful math, I've got 2 rock dice just for you.
Those great ones you can't give away, and the Christmas themed ones with the rock symbol as the 1 instead of the 6. You can't give those away. They're just awful.
So apologies if this was a super long cast, but that was we have many tales.
Ironically, I have many more things that I'd like to say.
At this rate, the fans are going to make it a little longer once we get into fan questions. If you do want to get your question in, check us out at facebook.com/madewithclicks, or if you're watching on YouTube, just throw something in the comment section below. Not the comment I just reported for spam and harassment, by the way. That was rude. Get away from my show. Oh, boy. Anything else you guys want to? Yeah, we're gonna. Anything you guys want to add before we get to the fan questions?
Nope. I think
good to go. Yeah, I mean, I can't. Oh yeah, one other thing. I can't wait to set up Interstore League here. Every other month. Our dog is running around like a crazy person right now. This is amazing.
Every other month. Makes dogs crazy.
Anyway, yeah, so we're going to be setting up a meta league, as it were, but it's going to go between different venues. We have 5 venues lined up. So this will be starting very, very soon. Very cool here in Toronto and area. Can you stop? Thank you.
All right, Jay, anything you want to add, or?
I guess everything I want to add is probably covered in questions, so no need.
All right, excellent. Then, if you're also interested in supporting us directly, check us out at patreon.com/marriedwithclicks. We appreciate any support that comes from our fans. We got all kinds of options and cool stuff that we offer up, including our patron hangout. If you missed it this past Friday, which I did just before our show, holy smokes, was that a lot of fun to do. And I noticed that Matt Ryan did quite well for himself on the show by missing the patron hangout this month. But it's a great time to get a chance to chit-chat with some of us. And, in fact, this August now, September, is going to be the next one where these guys are on the hook. So, heads up, guys.
Sounds fun. I'm in.
All right.
I can do it.
Also, once again, want to remind everybody, Eternal Games in Detroit is where we're looking to next to appear in person for Super Qualifier down there in Detroit. We're not sure how many of us are coming. I know myself and Amber have been specifically requested. Tom is our wheelman, and therefore whoever else can fit in the car, I guess.
What is this?
This is October 1st at Eternal Games.
Well, I'm coming too, so screw you.
The possibility for me depends on the Jewish holidays.
Let's do that thing.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not Jewish, so I'm going.
All right. So let's just check the timestamps here. Right. So everybody adds questions at the exact same time, which is probably exactly when I put it up. So who better to start off with than Chris Stockhouse?
Hooray!
Yeah.
We missed it this weekend.
He leads off with congrats, everyone. Nice work. I love everyone's teams, and it gave me lots of ideas for World Cup. Definitely wish I could have made it because it looked like everyone had a great time. So I'm sure with the excellent final standings, everyone has got a healthy number of ROC points. So my question is, will you guys try to grind through the entire World Cup tournament or try to qualify in the higher parts of the tournament? I'm actually on the hunt for whatever leftover old cards that anybody who's local is not planning on going to Atlanta and try to get my hands on those. I'm currently sitting at like 107 points. I wouldn't mind going through the final because I looked at in the 50-point realm, you get into that semifinal. And I don't like the idea of the limited format in the current state of this in right now because I don't know how to rate it just yet, and I haven't put enough thought into it in my own head. It's just I'm not personally don't feel ready for it, and I'm gonna look, and if in the next like week or two I can't see where I can finish up those last couple points, I am going to start having to research the limited format, which is hard because it got limited to look at for that semifinal, but also have modern to focus on for tournaments that are currently running. So,
well, Jason, I have 46 points here for you.
Oh no, just give me the old ones. Use those for next. Use the new ones for next year. That's what I'm saying.
All right, okay. So then I have 19 for you.
There we go. All right, so we're up to 126. Just 74 more to go. Tom, are you? Well, I guess Tom, if you're planning on going, you go straight to the final. So,
if I'm there, then I'll be there.
You don't get to say you're going to go to the final.
Fair enough.
And Mike, are you planning on going this year?
I might. I'm still kind of on the fence about it, but most likely not this year.
Yeah. Also, part of mine does depend on how I do at Eternal Games, because if I remember correctly, a super qualifier gets you into the final as well. So if I do well at Eternal Games, then I've got all these old points. We might have a contest of some sorts.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Because we'll have all these ones that are going to be expiring this year. The black and blue cards are going to be expiring this year, and the new color-coded ones are the new ones this year. They expire next year. So.
Yeah, the scratch-off ones. They'll have their own individual code.
Yeah. Jay, are you intending to go to Atlanta this year?
Based on Jewish holidays, like literally 1 second.
It's the week after Canadian Thanksgiving.
Based on Jewish holidays, 1% chance that I will.
Darn.
But even so, because I have a grand total of 0 points, because I end up giving them away to other people.
Oh, okay.
And before I forget, because I just reminded myself, because I forgot to mention, which I was going to mention, that I have to give a lot of credit to Aaron, our good friend of 2 Clicks from KO, which I've been on, and just stuff, for having worked with me on the team. And I was supposed to mention that when I was talking, but I forgot until just now. So I'm sorry.
He is a good guy, that guy.
He gets most of the credit.
Great player and a great man.
Yeah. And if you want to catch Aaron's show, 2 Clicks from KO, there's a link down below. I believe I actually still keep it in the description of these videos, because we often do drop names drop Aaron's name quite a bit, because we do keep in regular contact with a good friend of the shows. All right. So next up, Hans Logan. Why do you guys think Mary Marvel has success in Europe and Canada mostly? What things hinder her viability in competitive play? Is she a cheaper KC Shazam? Last question. What team surprised you the most in the Cup and could have made it to the top 8?
Can't wait to get into that one.
A major factor in Mary Marvel being successful is, for one, saturation does help on the success rate. And not to take away from Tom, played a great team, played his team well. Just take away from that.
Also playing a bit of a different version than most people that I saw.
Absolutely. But what helps her is she's good. She's mobile. She's got prob, and she is prob-proof. as well as outwit proof. These are all important factors. As well, she's just a rare. She's not a super rare chase, which means accessibility is there. She's not incredibly difficult to get your hands on. And all of this factors into, how she's been successful in Canada and I'm guessing Europe. Because in Canada, we don't have a large number of players who are willing to invest. Because our competitive play is in this weird middle ground where there's a lot of players who want to be competitive, but we're only, this year has been the biggest competitive year, in my opinion, in our end of Canada. The West Coast has been a little bit more competitive than we have down in Vancouver. Part of that is Rob Barazul and his buddies over there run a heck of a show over there. There are a lot of really good players there. We over here, we've only just started hitting the ground and doing the things that are necessary. Pushing our stores to get the ROC, discovering the ROC, talking to the guys that run nationals, pushing these in the right direction, and we got the nationals, we got the WizKids Opens. These things they all feel new to us. So all this factors into, yes, Mary Marvel's going to be a popular character in Europe and Canada because the competitive scene doesn't facilitate a lot of people wanting to spend a lot of money on the chases and super rares and hunt down the big expensive pieces and get all the meta teams. And because she's easy to build around, she doesn't take up your entire team, you can definitely build a team that focuses with her.
Yeah. What was weird about this time, too, I mean, it's kind of a semi-side note, is the amount of Krangs.
0.
Yeah.
Yeah. No Krangs.
0 Krangs. Compared to everywhere else, it seems. I'm not sure about Europe, but in the States, I know that Krang's everywhere. I wonder if that actually, somehow is offset by the number of Mary Marvels, or I don't know if it correlates at all.
It's difficult to guess regionally why it's different. What I would say about Mary Marvel and why I think she's popular in general is that she just has a nice long list of things that she brings to the table that are good for competitive play. Prob is good for competitive play. Stop clicks are good for competitive play. Outwit protection is good for competitive play, and so is Big Swing and Flight. I don't think, though, that she's a cheap version of Shazam. I don't think that's really a fair thing to say, because to me, Shazam is all about offense. Mary Marvel has a deeper dial, or the same depth of dial, but with a stop click and the ability to heal herself back up again. And she has probability control to go with what she's doing. So I guess they do similar-ish things, but I think Mary Marvel is more catered towards survivability and ensuring the hit, whereas Shazam is more about going all out and trying to just wreck house from as far away as possible.
She's a lot better than Shazam.
Yeah, they're complementary, but I don't think they're...
I think she is a lot better than he is, because, she's modifiable for your own team as well. Mm-hmm. That comes into play. And yeah, just as you were saying, a lot more complex. The Casey Shazam is an excellent figure, but I honestly think that she outclasses him.
I agree.
Yeah. Jay, anything to add to that?
Her longevity is also good with the stop click and the amazing regen. So no matter how big that first attack is, she's going to be coming back, and then her unexpected shape change can be quite good, especially if they've had to put all their other resources and whatnot to get her through. Like, even supposing they have a Nick Fury to get rid of her Invincible, that means that they can't shut off her shape change for the most part. So she will have that last rollout to hopefully save her skin and then regen right back up there. So
yeah,
longevity is good.
Absolutely. All right. On that note, next up we have Matt Wallace. Matt Wallace says, I want to say congrats to Tom for getting first, Jason for making second at the Canada Cup. Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
I want to throw out a challenge for one of y'all to break the meta with Devil Dinosaur. Jay, you can do that one.
I literally just finished making that team.
He practically breaks it by being released.
It just is broken.
Also, if you don't have time, I wanted to... Okay, guys, we're going to have some homework for next week.
But I have the team already.
Oh, yeah, we have to build... We don't have...
We have too much stuff to do next week.
Oh, man, we are so backed up.
Can I just state my one... Devil Dinosaur's also backed up. Can I just say my one team now?
Matt, we're going to take this as homework. You're going to send me an email with this. I'm going to send you an email back with our answers, because, unfortunately, this episode's already running long, and next week is the end of Superior Foes of Spider-Man. So, and that's already lining up to be a super long episode. So, we will pass this on to our homework, and we will answer you directly on this one, either via email or via Facebook. But anyway, what he does ask is he wanted to get a thought on a team that he's working on that I'm going to send to you guys over Facebook
Sure.
later
Sounds
on.
good.
Sure.
All right. So unfortunately, guys, usually we are okay to just give quick opinions or quick thoughts on something, but unfortunately, because this week is running a little late, and we would push it to next week, but because next week is the end of Superior Films Spider-Man, all we're really going to be able to do is a set review and a couple of small questions for next week. So, holy smokes, the content! Like we go from stretching for content for about a month to stop with the content.
Yeah, agreed.
It's
Too much to say.
all right. So Matt, we will approach your question, and we will Facebook message you directly on that one. Next up, George Himes. Since we haven't seen a new one in a while, what, in your opinion, will be the next resource? I think the next thing we see as a resource is going to be something we didn't expect to be a resource. Look at how we got the Punisher fan in that case. And the last thing we got before that was the Quinjet, which was part of Age of Ultron. Now, traditionally, resources, and this is my prediction, so I'm not speaking for the rest of the team unless they share my prediction, but based on the regularity of resources, we used to get them with events. But we didn't get one with Civil War. And it doesn't look like anything is resource-related in the Grand Prize kit either. So it leads me to believe that resources are going to start becoming less fundamental in the game very shortly. And, you know, what I'm saying is next rotation probably sees Nick Fury go. And Age of Ultron came up before Nick Fury. So that's the Quinjet and the Round Table gone, which leaves just the teleporter.
No, it's the teleporter and there's also the Punisher van, right?
And the Punisher van. But what have we said about the Punisher van so
far?
And
the Supreme Intelligence.
And
Supreme Intelligence will live forever.
Yeah. Well, no, he lives for 4 years.
But we kind of see how where this trend is kind of going. They may not be mandatory, but they may be seen in the future. But it's starting to look like with the massive amount of equipment we're getting, which none of it is super overpowered, but all of it is really good still. We may be seeing a lean in that direction. And it's just kind of, this is based on observation, of course. Somebody at WizKids is probably going to come at me and just be like, oh yeah, you want to see a resource? Here's a resource, boom! And I'm wrong. Okay.
Well, I mean, with the introduction of special objects as well, like the more of the special objects, them being a lot easier to equip than relics as well. I agree with you. I think it's going in that direction for sure.
Yeah, I think that we see resources moving to where they've already seemed to have moved to, which is an extra something attached to a character or an alternative to a character. Supreme Intelligence is a character that can be switched out for a resource dial. The Quinjet is a character that has an associated resource dial. Same with the Punisher Man. It wouldn't surprise me to see more of those. I think the age of dedicated resources seems to be on a bit of a hold for the moment. Again, we could all be wrong, so this is just our speculation, but that's what I'm speculating.
All right. And Jay?
What was the question?
Resources. What do you think the next resource is going to be, if any?
We don't even know about the next OP event, but it's likely DC. But
yeah, who knows?
All right. So yeah, those are our thoughts on that. Next up, oh no, I almost liked the wrong one. I usually just like your question as I answer it. So, Christopher Smotherin, or another longtime fan and patron, what was the most out-of-the-box team that was just a couple bad dice rolls or bad matchups away from making the cut?
Me, can I please take it?
Oh, Tom, okay, go for it.
My favorite team I saw all weekend also goes back to the one that we kind of missed before, which was 3 Lori Lamarises and 5 Mermaids.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Ah, man, I love that team. I never had a chance to face it, and I really wanted to face it, partly because I'm pretty sure I could have shot it down before it could cross the map. But it's talk about I wanted to make that work in the days of the Indigo Battery, and I could just never get it to sing just the right way. This guy was bold enough to be playing it without any such restrictions. And boy, did it ever do better than you might initially think. The fact that you've got the triple lorries there to all activate the effect, and also to make an awful lot of clicks real estate that you have to deal with KOing in order to avoid the stuff. The way that they all move around and swarm and make it very difficult to avoid all that feedback. That was really cool. I loved that team. I know I'm not sorry they didn't make the cut. I know that Trevor, the aforementioned Trevor Vassar, faced it, I think, twice and beat it twice. And Trevor is incredibly good. And as I said, he had a very healing-oriented team, so I'm not surprised that he was able to weather that particular storm. But boy, that was really cool. Really cool.
Anybody else got a team that they kind of thought the same thing about? I agree with the exploding fish team. So I mean, I'm on Tom's page on that one.
Yeah, exploding fishes were awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Different. What was the specific question once again? Can you just read it back for me?
Was there anything at the Canada Cup that you think was just thinking outside of the box and was just a couple dice rolls from doing better?
No, not really. Aside from that, there were some really interesting and just different thrown together teams with figures that people just wanted to play together. Like you mentioned, Glenn's team earlier. I think that he was showing some real meta potential on that team. The engineer team. I faced that team. I almost lost to it. It's not at this event, but privately just practicing because Glenn's the other judge at our venue. Yeah, but I'm sorry, I'm really tired as well. So my recall isn't fantastic right at this very moment. If I think of anything, though, I'll mention it to you via the Married with Clicks Facebook page.
All right. Jay, anything else?
I like that Emily is still running with Sunfire, and it would be cool.
Oh, yeah, her team's cool.
Yeah, very cool team.
Well, she did really well at that one
that nobody outside of Toronto plays. Is also on that team, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Love that, Johnny Quick.
Oh man, I love the bomb potential that he has.
Yeah, I'm a bad person, and apparently not from here because I prefer the Fast Forces one. Fight me.
I mean, we say these things about you behind your back. Don't worry about it. And to your face. So.
Don't worry.
All right, next up. Mike Backley asks, or goes on to say, congratulations to you one and all for placing as well as you did in the Canada Cup. Some simple questions.
Thank you.
What was the most unexpected team that you had to play against? And was there anything that threw you off from your normal play style? And then there was a hard question after this, but we'll go from there. Most unexpected team that I had to play against was Glenn's Engineer Atomica mixed Pitlick. Mostly because in my head it wasn't a team that was in my radar set, so it caught me off guard, of course. And it's like, what is this gonna? Oh, well, it's Engineer, which means it's gonna get a ton of powers already. Plus, he's got defense powers coming from a Possessor. You got Mr. Rix's Pitlick, who is, he does what he does. And Atomica, which pops. It's a good team overall, once again, good figures. And it's just, I think it had a little bit more potential than it looked like. And as far as throwing me off of my normal play style, well, I mean, playing against Tom in Ottawa threw me off my play style. But then the other two times, if you watched me and Tom play, we kind of went like, okay, so this is how this is going to go, right? You're going to, yep, all right, and then dice rolls. Okay, well, that's dead. Okay, next, what's up? It becomes very formulaic for the two of us, but it still does throw me off of the expectation of that team. And Mike's team as well did throw me off because I had to do some weird stuff to get things to go. Like I had to bring out a Black Canary to do nothing.
It's the grindy team, grindy.
I had to do the weirdness. So, Tom?
Both of my answers are going to be the same, and I'm going to continue my theme of making this the Let's Appreciate Trevor Vassar show. Because, honestly, nothing...
Great player.
There are lots of teams, actually, that surprise me, only from the perspective that, there's only so many teams you're really expecting to see. I did expect to see a Lex Luthor team. I expected to see Quinjet. I knew that Mike would be there, so I knew about his double Lokis. And everything else I faced was unexpected, because how could you have expected it? But the thing that was unique about Trevor's was the massive healing potential and just the sheer aggravation that is created by Element Man. It honestly didn't throw me off my normal strategy that much, it meant that most of the damage that I was doing as he was coming across the board was getting healed back up again. But it slowed doing that slowed him down from deploying. So there was still a bit of push and pull. It wasn't just that he was just messing with me. I was dealing him damage. He had to stop and deal with that. And if he ever wasn't able to fully deal with that, then I would press on with more and more damage. So it didn't really change my strategy, but it changed the way that I approached the strategy. That's what I'll say. And I mean, Mike does make me change my strategy, but it's a pretty close variation on the usual one. It's just that it's a little more focused towards advancing the table and a little bit less focused on what the specific figures that I'm bringing out are doing.
All right, Mike.
In terms of, I don't know. I think.
Well, Devin's team can target you, so.
Yeah, but I play Devin so often. I'm used to his play style. And so it doesn't really put me on tilt or anything. It doesn't make me get out of my comfort zone or make me play very differently. Well, I guess it does. It does make me play a little bit slightly more conservatively in terms of the low-key placements. Just because he does have that ability. And if there's blocking, yay, blocking. It does affect my map choice, too. Versus his team. If I had one map role in that particular case, I would have chosen Jean Grey's School. That is one of mine as well. Other teams. I mean, I'm so used to fighting Quinjets. It's not like, even though they are vastly different, I usually do fairly well. And the only thing I was looking out for was Krang. Krang is a big counter for my team. There weren't any Krangs. It's I have a particular strategy for facing Krang, and Tom and I actually developed it together. And it actually does really well. But it also depends on a player realizing what they're facing and playing properly with a Krang, rather than them going out and then trying to do a bald attack, which does not work against my team. If it's just a regular attack and they don't just skip the attack and go for something else, potentially.
You were also gearing up for a big move in our game that you couldn't make.
Yeah. No, I know. Yeah. Well, you and I, when I saw what you had on your sideline and the way you had changed it, we hadn't practiced with that particular variation. I knew that I had to do something different, and so it did make me move up a little bit more drastically than I normally would against your team, and really try and dig into it a little bit more deeply. But didn't quite work out, and that one mistake was just kind of the way I look at, or what I think actually decided, what happened between us for the most part. But then there's dice as well, and there's all kinds of other factors that can happen. And yeah, that's my answer, and I'm sticking to it.
All right, Jay.
Glenn kind of, except by the time I was going to be facing him in day 2, I already knew what I was going to be facing based on the pairings and the placements.
Brackets.
And it doesn't really do well against a Quinjet, and I kind of realized that, and I was okay. Normal playstyle, throwing off those Lokis, man. Yeah, I also just wanted to double. I wanted to. Tom always says what I want to say. I don't like it. In terms of Trevor, he is interesting because he was like the first person I ever saw to play the zombie team base at a Fan Expo tournament, and I was like, oh, that's a powerful thing. And most recently, I saw him play it at Provincials. But good on him for making something entirely different after that went away. It's something really cool and something that I would have played if the Quinjet wasn't around, maybe. So yeah.
I have seen Trevor play in a couple tournaments that like win maps around the area, and he is generally got unique ideas coming around. He did really get a lot of mileage though out of the zombie Super Scroll for a while.
He won a win a map with it.
Yep, absolutely. And then we do have one last question coming from Mike Backley, because this is the hard one. This is the more generic one that's not specific to the tournament. With the massive depower and rebalancing of figures from Uncanny X-Men forward, do you feel that the new sets like Superior Foes of Spider-Man and Joker's Wild will be viable, or do you think we will have to wait till after the next rotation for the meta to favor them? There will be standouts in the sets. There's always
something that comes out of it.
Yeah. Like right now, there will be a couple things that stand out. and then when we do that meta shift, we'll look back and go, okay, did we miss anything? I mean, that Black Canary, until the ID card showed up, was
useless.
Kind of on our radars, but like she was neato, but not great, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it depends. Like specifically for Joker's Wild with the JSA sub-team, I know that although those characters might be lower points, we still have Casey Green Lantern with a shareable 20.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on what we get there, those characters could actually be ridiculously hard to hit, and actually.
And I agree with that.
I would also say that in general, the way that sets tend to work is a new set comes out, a few standouts enter the meta immediately, and then over time, more of the pieces start to fill in the gaps as older pieces start to fall away. And that's not a new pattern. That pattern is still working, and we just haven't really seen it. We have not seen it really hit yet for these new rebalanced sets.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So next up, we go to the.
Oh, you missed me on that one.
What's that? I missed you. Oh, sorry, Mike. Did you have something to add? I thought I heard you.
No, I don't have anything.
You missed me, but I have nothing to add.
Zemo, man. Zemo. Let's go.
Way to be that guy. Way to be that guy. All right. Gonna do a quick check to make sure there aren't more. I have seen so much weirdness going on in the comment section today. I don't understand what's going on. Maybe it's because I called this C-Day. Is this some kind of slang that I missed there?
I don't know.
No.
That's not slang I know about.
All right. But we do have
something the kids are doing.
We do have a legitimate comment here. First, I want to congratulate all you guys on your performance. Great show and a great group of guys in person. See you all, I hope, in Atlanta. And first drink is on me. Go Canada.
Sounds good to me.
So, do I have to pay for a single beverage in Atlanta? I mean, the rate of comments and messages that I'm getting are just like, I'm going to be perpetually wasted the entire time, which is funny because I just took a test about who I am before and after I drink.
Yeah, he sent me the picture.
Apparently, according to these little Facebook tests, I am Ryan Gosling before I drink and Tarzan when I'm. Nope. Yep, that's right. That's me.
I liked your what movie villain are you? A combination of Voldemort and Ultron.
All I can say to constantly drinking is it's already the best way to be for me.
Me, Jason, Dissem Metal Lab. All right, but that's all we have for fan input today. Thank all our fans, as always, for your wonderful input and ideas and questions for the show. Next week, as we mentioned already, is our end-to-end figure 1 to figure whatever is at the bottom of the set of Superior Foes of Spider-Man. We will be going over this very briefly, we'll be going over this kind of in both ends. Hopefully, Tom has the charts ready for...
That's the plan.
That's the plan. So we're going to start with the charts, and then we're going to go to the set.
We're going to comment... This time around, we're going to comment less on the charts because they're visual. You can make your own determinations. We'll show them, give you a quick little Coles notes, but it's not going to be the talk thing. It's just going to be charts, and we'll include a link for you to download them. It seems like that'll work a little better than exhaustively blabbing our way through them.
Yep, absolutely. And as well, Jay, you said you got a couple things coming up this week?
Yeah, Mike and I are filming an unboxing of Superior Spider-Man this week at some point. Rules recap is tomorrow, but it's going to be very short because we're very movie rules things. My Majestics article series is going to be this Thursday or Friday. I think I might be doing the HD Realms Spider-Man primers, but I'm not 100% sure.
Cool.
I have a very busy Heroclix week this week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, big set releases. I've got a judge on Wednesday for the Superior Foes of Spider-Man set release, and then I'll probably go on Thursday to play. And yeah, of course, tomorrow we're going to do our unboxing, which is going to be super fun, good time. And then Suicide Squad afterwards for me, which might be a waste of time, but whatever.
It might be enjoyable. You know what though? I find sometimes if the critics are ragging on it and a couple people are ragging on it, but then some people are enjoying it.
Yeah.
I know that it's time to just turn off the critical brain and maybe enjoy it. I wish it could have worked a little better for Batman vs Superman. I got some enjoyment out of that movie, not as much as I would hope, but a lot more than I would have gone if I would have gone in blind. That's for sure.
I was in the same mentality, and I had the same mentality until Glenn told me he saw it today, and it was still a really bad review. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't want to show my cards about being the wrong kind of nerd, but I'm more excited for a different movie that I haven't seen yet.
Oh yeah, I really want to see that. I haven't seen it either.
Hey, Tom.
Yeah, nice.
Of the new ones, it's been the best in my opinion.
Oh, I'm very
Really.
I heard the same thing. Yeah.
I've heard that from a lot.
Huge Trek fan.
Yeah.
Huge.
And it just felt like something. This felt like something a Trek fan made.
Really?
Very
Chris
excited.
Pine
Wow.
being in it.
Not like a fan made a film in some dude's basement, but like a fan got a budget and permission to make a.
Yeah, like Deadpool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pumped.
Well, welcome to the movie lab.
Yeah. So as we segue into our sponsors, I want to, as always, thank HCRealms.com, which you will be seeing a great deal next week as we go through the set release. But of course, check out the forums for the conversation, the unit section to keep track of your collection, build your teams, and keep track of what's out there in the game, the ROC section to find out where your ROC events are, and the shop section to get some cool Heroclix gear. And while you're buying some of that cool Heroclix gear, use the coupon code MARRIED for 10% off your purchase. Those are brought to you by MajesticCCG.com and the Apex Insiders premium site, where you get articles by guys like Jay, guys like myself, like Tom very soon. Some deep insight into the game. Mike, get some more stuff going.
I know. Patrick keeps bugging me.
I'm the one saying that, and I pretty much I think I owe him an article at least this week. So, but heck, I owe the channel content. So let's talk about that. But in the meantime, guys, it was a great time at ROC Canada Cup. I want to thank 401 Games. Thank all of our judges, including my beautiful wife Amber over here, who has shown up after work. That's how late we're running. Paul Rocky, who helped judge, Steve Ogden, and Aiden Pillion. I want to thank all of our judges who helped out, all the organizers, 401 for some of the prize support, anybody else who helped with sending the prize support. Thank you guys for enjoying yourselves in the brown bag and not brown bag challenge, and not giving me back any of those figures. I want to thank the ROC for introducing the ROC Canada Cup and the ROC National Cups. I'm really looking forward to next year's event and having a lot more fun with these events in the future. I'm looking forward to Eternal Mass, or is it? I keep calling it different names.
USA.
I'm looking forward to the ROC event in Michigan on October 1st. However, which way I might manage to get there. And while I think about the event, I always got to remember that practice
makes
your
team
better. Tom, show him the trophy. There it is. Look at that, Tom. Look at that trophy made by the beautiful Miss Amber Kennedy, and the plaque provided by the ROC, along with the brink of Civil War. Look at that. One last shot. Look at that.
Also, one last thing that we completely forgot about. There was one last thing, and I think it really helped the event overall, and that was that we gave a brick of X-Men to Fellowship.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
And that was huge. That was massive. Yeah,
that was huge. And I think his daughter was more excited about it than he was.
Yeah.
All right, guys, have a wonderful night.